For choosing Asaase Radio, for keeping your dials here on 99.5 in Accra, 99.7 in Tamale, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 98.5 in Kumasi. My name is Wilberforce Asare. It is such a delight to welcome you to this edition of The Forum. The Forum is a political and current affairs show here on Asaase Radio and all our sister stations across the length and breadth of the country and other associated stations. We make it a point to bring you multiple perspectives on issues of national interest today. There are two such issues of national interest. One has to do with the OSP and Ken Oforiatta, and the other has to do with the imposition of the tax that is now known as the energy levy tax, or the D tax, or the D levy, which is Dumso levy. We are going to talk about these two issues. I have a dream team joining me for the purposes of today's discussion. Just before I introduce the team who have already started arriving in the studios, let me bring you a review of some newspapers I picked from the stands while I was on my way to the office. The first is The Spectator. The Spectator says that it's your weekend companion, and today's edition, don't stigmatize women with mental health challenges. Story is on page 3 of The Spectator, and it's a story that is attributed to it's attributed to Anson Metal. So Anson Metal is the deputy director of prisons, and he's the one urging that we shouldn't stigmatize women who have mental issues. I 100% agree with him. The other story here on the front page of The Spectator: inflated prices of abaya and then also jalabia on Eid al-Adha celebration. So yes, our Muslim brothers and sisters did their celebration yesterday, and we are told that ahead of the celebration, it looks like the prices of the jalabia went up. I'm sure it has come down by now. And this paper on page 2 comes with a picture of spice salah meat. Unfortunately, none of my Muslim friends brought me salah meat yesterday. Audu Mahama and Razak and all the others. This message is for you. Okay, so let me quickly move on to the Mirror. The Mirror is Ghana's most popular weekend paper, and it has some series of stories here. Woman arrested for acid attack on ex-lover. Stories on page 3 of the Mirror. In case you missed that story that developed this week, this is a young lady who her ex-lover has decided to, or her lover had decided to part ways with her. She went to this gentleman's house and asked the man to drop her at her home somewhere at Ofanko Fan Milk area thereabout. And the man, interestingly, agreed to go and drop this ex-lover. Whilst they are on their way, she confronted the man about the developments in their relationship. The man insists that there is no comeback. The woman decided to acid bath this man, and she's been arrested. I'm told the man has been treated and discharged from the hospital, but the crime that has been committed must definitely be prosecuted. Okay, so that's the Mirror. The other story here, lead story: Dr. Angela Dwamena Abuaje wins season 7 MTN Heroes of Change. So everybody who has heard the name Dr. Angela Dwamena Abuaje will associate it with female rights protection and also child protection. So yes, congratulations to you, Dr. Angela Dwamena Abuaje. We are tired of talking. Circle June 3rd disaster survivors, and they've been talking for a very long time, making demands all over the place. It looks like they've not been heard. Now they said they are tired of talking. Stories on page 3. If you want to know why they are tired of talking, you might have to grab a copy of the Mirror. So the last paper that I have on the bill this morning, Daily Graphic, and it's the weekend special, Truth and Accuracy Every Day, and this is number 22,778, and it is today's date, 7th June 2025. Vice President advocates unexplained wealth orders to fight graft, and that is a story on page 5 of the Daily Graphic. The Vice President, Professor Nana Opoku Ajman, is advocating that we should introduce the unexplained wealth order, the UWO. in Ghana to check corruption. Well, any efforts to fight corruption welcome development. Tree for Life initiative takes off. Okay, so this government has chosen to call it Tree for Life. The previous government called it Green Ghana. So it is virtually the same. We want to make sure that we have trees up in our skies. And the names that we give to it really perhaps doesn't matter. What matters is the impact. Lead story on the front page of the Daily Graphic: Hajj cost relief on the way. President assures of drop in fares, plans to make Eid al-Fitr public holiday. And this story comes to a picture of President John Dramani Mahama exchanging pleasantries with the chief imam of the Republic at the celebrations that were held yesterday. A story by Joshua Bediako Kumsen. Well, if you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic, you should see the full details for you there. I've also seen some stories in the papers that caught my attention. Page 18 of the graphic, which says that the new energy sector levy, we'll talk about it today. It's a story attributed to Dr. John Osai Kwapong. And also on page 27 of the same paper, Ghana's 1 cedi fuel levy necessary to avert crisis. And President Mahama is the one saying so. All right, so we'll get to talk about the levy and matters arising in the course of this show. And also discuss. We will start with the OSP issues on Ken Oforiatta. Those joining me today for the show, already seated in the studio, is Bernard Oredu. He is a member of the New Patriotic Party National Communications Team, and he's also a lawyer in private practice. Counsel, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to see you.
It's great being here.
Is it your first time here?
I'm sure.
It is. Okay.
Beautiful studio.
Thank you.
I'm very much impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. So that is Bernard Oredu. Your name Oredu rings a lot of. It rings a bell. Oredu. Was there any Chief Justice called Oredu?
Oh yes, of course.
Is he your uncle?
No, my Oredu is I think Justice Oredu was an Ashanti or something. My Oredu is Fanti. My dad is Fanti.
Okay. So that is why it is spelled O-W-I-R-E.
Yeah, there's Redu and there's Oredu. Usually the Oredus are either Fantis, Equipums or Quills.
Okay.
And the Redus are Achims or Ashantis.
Okay.
So mine Oredu is from my dad, Fanti.
Okay.
But my mom is Achim, so I'm a good blend.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So for those of you who are joining us on Facebook, thank you for choosing Asaase Radio. I've seen that people have already started sending messages. By the time I logged on to Facebook, there were messages already on the bill. So yes, we'll read all your messages. Share our page. Tell a friend to tell a friend that the show is airborne. Those of you who are watching on ABC television, thank you also for joining us on ABC television and for choosing Asaase Radio. We promise to bring you our very best. All right. So the other persons who will be joining me, Ellen Amadeko. Ellen Amadeko is also a member of the New Patriotic Party National Communications Team. We will be joined via video link, hopefully, by Kwesi Yamwa Abedu. He's a public. He's a policy lead. Climate Finance and Energy Transition Institute of Climate Change and Environmental Governance. And then hopefully Nick Bako Samoa Ado will also join us either in person or via video link. And same with Mr. Kwame Jantua. But for now, we will start our conversations today on the telephone, and that is because one of my favorite lawyers is joining us via telephone this morning, and he is lawyer Nana Eje Bafo Ewa, member of parliament for Menchia South and a lawyer in private practice. I've known him in practice for well over 10 years, I believe. A very good morning to you, Counsel.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, Counsel.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
It is well. Good to hear from you this morning, and hope you are doing well. I'm told that you are in the Ashanti region preparing for the funeral of the chief who passed. Is it Mampohini?
Yes.
Okay, so he's going to be buried today.
But no, who the funeral of Nana Mampohini?
Yes, so he's going to be buried today, right?
Hello, I can't hear you, my brother.
Oh, sadly. Okay, I'm just saying that the funeral is taking place today. What it means is that he's going to have his final resting place today.
No, he's not going to have his final resting place today. It's going to start today, as you know, for chiefs in Ashanti region. They lie in state for a couple of days, and so he'll be lying in state for the next 3 days or so. Or 2-4 is likely to go on Monday. On Monday, to also go and perform what is required of him customarily on Monday.
Okay, all right. So, indeed, yes, Chief.
Brother, you're a bit distant.
Okay, I'm going to try. I think it's a technical issue. I'm going to try.
Hello?
Yes, I think it's a technical issue. I'm going to try.
No, it's better now.
It's better now. Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, so Council, let's begin our conversation. And we also have in the studio your colleague lawyer. I believe you are certainly senior to him, but he's your colleague lawyer, Bernard Oredu. He's here in the studio. All right, so
you've gone down again.
Okay. So my technical people are going to help sort this problem out.
Sure.
And we'll manage that. Okay. So
okay, I'll be on standby.
Okay, yeah. So let's start the conversation this way, if you can hear me. The OSP on the 2nd of June, after the first episode sometime in February, declaring the former finance minister wanted, subsequently negotiating with lawyers and then rescinding on that decision, came back on 2nd June, that's about 3 or so months afterwards, to say that as far as he's concerned, irrespective of whatever communications he has received, it is his understanding that Ken Ofori-Atta does not intend to come to Ghana to face justice. The justice he doesn't really explain because he has not charged him with any offense yet. But I want your initial comments about what you make of the OSP's decision to relist Ken Ofori-Atta as a wanted person, in spite of the fact that he is in touch with Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers on daily basis.
Thank you very much, my brother, for the opportunity. I think you summed it all in your introduction. Ken Ofori-Atta has not been charged, and so he's wanted for what? I was expecting the OSP, after his initial press conference in February, to, in this press conference, say that following a preliminary investigations, Ken Ofori-Atta has been charged with the following offences, and that he's wanted to stand trial. Try as we have not been able to reach him. The communication or correspondence from his lawyers, for instance, I'm just saying, presumptively, that it lacks candor, which is to say, it's not something that you can rely upon. And so you are going ahead to charge him for one offense or the other. But till date, you have not even charged him. To date, you have not even charged him. So when you have not charged him, you are declaring him one for what? Besides, have you even gone to obtain an arrest warrant from the court of the Republic of Ghana? You haven't. Because he would have said so in his communication. Did he say anything like that?
I think that he indicated that he is about to charge. He says he will charge him soon.
Good. So he hasn't said all these things, and you say you have declared him wanted. The approach is quite problematic. And that's why I've said that the approach is similar to what we have witnessed in the past from the OSP in other cases. It came to no avail. And so it makes you wonder whether this approach should not be reconsidered by the OSP, in my humble view.
When you say reconsider, what exactly do you mean?
I'm saying that My brother, if you want to catch fish and you do it in a certain manner and you continue to get no results, don't you think you may want to revise your notes? Because your approach is not giving you results. Look, the OSP did the same thing, which is the other part. Made the whole country to believe that the woman had committed one offense or the other, and that he was investigating it. He was even collaborating with the FBI, and so on and so forth. When from the preliminary facts, right, it didn't even look like the woman had any connection to the American jurisdiction in terms of access she may even have, right? To even warrant that collaboration in the first place. I get me when there are competent investigative bodies, experienced investigative bodies in this country, and he did all those public drama, only to end up and say that after his investigations he has discovered that he didn't have the mandate. Okay. The USP did the same with LaBianca. They have resolved anything with LaBianca. Eventually, the woman died. And Adamoah was embarrassed. And so on and so forth. Okay. And so I think that the approach is quite problematic.
Okay, so Counsel,
when you have done an initial press conference in February, 4 months subsequent to that, or 5 months subsequent to that, 4 months subsequent to that, Ken Ofori-Atta has not been charged. And in February, he was declared wanted when he had not been charged. Okay. 4 months later, you have still not charged him, and you are telling the world that he's wanted. He's wanted for what? Wanted for because he has been charged, wanted to answer questions, as part of an investigation. Wanted for what? This is my difficulty.
Okay, Counsel. So, in the communications that we have seen as having transpired between the special prosecutor and lawyers representing Ken Ofori-Atta, there seemed to be a suggestion that in light of the health challenges and the inability of Ken to come to the Ghanaian jurisdiction, there's a suggestion that if it is for purposes of statement taking, then let's do it via video link. How does that find itself in the statutes that we have as a country?
When you have not charged him, when you haven't charged him, right, supposedly, then, you want him to just to take a statement. If that is the case, should anything stop you from using an alternative mode or means of communication? The evidence of the OSP's own past practice is there for all of us, as a guide. That evidence is that he went outside of Ghana to speak to the brother of President Mahama, and I've heard some people say that he did so because President Mahama's brother is not a citizen of Ghana. That's not correct. He's also a citizen of Ghana. Even though he holds dual nationality, he's also a citizen of the Republic of Ghana. On my Facebook, somebody came to say ridiculously that he did so because the English citizenship is superior to that of Ghana, and I laughed. Once you are a citizen of Ghana, you are subject to the laws of the Republic of Ghana. If an investigative body in the Republic of Ghana requires your presence, you cannot say because you are in England and you're also a citizen of England, you will not come. You will come. You are under every law of the Republic of Ghana. Are you telling me that if you are a citizen of Ghana, right, but you hold the nationality of another country, okay, and an order has been made for your arrest, it cannot be enforced against you? That is completely, very respectfully fallacious. Completely. Completely fallacious. Okay? So, just as he did for President Mohammed's brother, he can also do that for Ken Ofori-Atta. If after engaging Ken Ofori-Atta, he thinks that there's a prima facie case to be answered, then he can tell him that I'm charging you. Come to Ghana or something. If Ken doesn't come, he can proceed against him. Right? When all these measures can be taken, it becomes very ridiculous, very respectfully, when you begin to sound helpless, right? When you begin to sound helpless in this instance, okay, and hold press conferences to declare him wanted and say you have reported to Interpol and so on and so forth. Look, we have laws in this country, and let's work according to the laws of this country.
Okay, Council. So Council, I see that the next question I want to ask you has to do with issues of health. When investigators are doing their work, prosecutors are doing their work, and suspects or accused persons are sick and all that, what are some of the things that they take into consideration? I'm asking this question because, for example, in the recent case of the Republic versus Kisilato Forcing and 2 or so others, there was the second accused person who the Attorney General had to enter a nolle prosequi just because the person was not well and had to go for medical treatment outside. And so because of that, the Attorney General says, I'm no longer going to charge this person, go and treat yourself, just so that the case can continue as smoothly as possible. On the grounds of this letter that we have seen coming from the Mayo Clinic in the United States in Minnesota, talking about the health situation of Ken and all that, is there any provision in our statutes for prosecutors when they are dealing with persons who they suspect to have committed a crime but have medical issues? Are there any provisions in the law?
No. That's the discretion of the Attorney General. There's no law which makes sickness or infirmity a defense to a suspicion that somebody has committed a crime. No. There's no such law. So the Attorney General, in the case I have made reference to, only exercises discretion, not to prosecute that person. He may have his reasons for doing that, but it is no defense, for non-prosecution. It's no reason or basis to say that you will not prosecute somebody. It's just the discretion that Attorney General exercises.
Okay, so without asking you to provide legal services to anybody on the radio, I would want to find out from you if you were a lawyer on the bill for Ken Ofori-Atta. Now that your request to be considered to have an online engagement because of your health situation has been ignored, you have been declared wanted. Interpol, which is an international organization, has acted on the request of Ghana and all that. What would be the next steps that you would have taken?
Ken Ofori-Atta has very good lawyers. Justice Kusibenka Prebo, who is a mentor and an uncle, is a very good lawyer. So I'll leave this to him. He is a very experienced lawyer. He can dance around you for many years. And so let him deal with this matter very respectfully on this occasion.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to let you go now, but let me see if I can put this other question to you. In terms of public health matters, okay, so let me allow my lawyer friend in the studio to ask this question. He wrote it for me, but it's not too clear to me.
Well,
so
Council, greetings.
Hello, how are you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Yourself? Long time.
I'm around.
Met some time ago. Yeah. So I was just trying to bring attention to the fact that even though it is the discretion of the prosecutor, the attorney general, when it comes to matters of ill health and not like a codified position of the law, but issues like ill health and public policy, public morals, they could be considered as matters of overriding considerations in a lot of issues. And
I don't think so. I don't think
because
so.
I am of the view that
no, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
You see, otherwise, people will commit offenses and come up with all sort of illnesses.
You know, but this is a situation where, of course, a lot will go into it, because we have situations where people's jail term have been shortened on grounds of ill health.
You see,
even in the Atuforsen's case,
moral and cultural, not
yes.
legal. There's no law. Very respectfully, I'm here to come across.
No, there isn't any law.
No, there isn't. So if there isn't, then you cannot then say that because of ill health, somebody should not be.
There have been times that issues of ill health have operated.
Because don't forget the benefits of criminal prosecution or conviction.
Definitely.
There are benefits to it.
Definitely.
And those benefits are also of public in nature. In fact, as a matter of public policy, people should be deterred from committing crimes, right? People should be punished for committing crimes, and so on and so forth. Okay. And in this day of plea bargain and so on and so forth, it is possible that after even a successful prosecution, or it is also possible that people will do plea bargain. Are you getting me?
I'm getting, but so it is in respect of this current situation where Mr. Foriata hasn't been charged. We don't know of any charges yet. So if it is for the purposes of just getting a statement and there are issues of ill health, proven ill health.
Charging a person is only part of a prosecution process.
Definitely.
Right, and not the comments, and not, it's not a conviction. And so, if we charge you with an offense, and you think that the evidence against you is weighty, you may enter into plea bargain. Then we don't need to even prosecute you, for which reason your ill health will be impacted. Are you getting me?
Yes, probably you're not getting my understanding.
It's not well, you will not charge the person. No, I don't think.
Oh, no. That is not that is not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that since he just wants statement from him and he hasn't charged him, and the man has enough reasons adducing that he is no well, I'm not sure for the purposes of his ill health, he should go ahead and declare him wanted, when he could have resorted to other avenues to get the statement from him. So it is on this basis that I think that
the OSP is not accepting the fact that Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is ill and he's an invalid.
No, he himself mentioned that he knows he's suffering from cancer. In his press statement, he mentioned that.
Yes, but he still insists. Which
was even wrong.
Which was even wrong. I mean, yes.
Lawyer, you don't even put descriptive details of a person.
So impliedly, he's no
health conditions.
Sorry, continue, counsel.
I said, as a lawyer, you don't put descriptive details of a person's health condition outside.
Oh, definitely. Such disclosures are not proper. But impliedly, at least he's aware the man is not well. Impliedly, he's aware. Impliedly, he's aware Mr. Ofori-Atta is not well because he himself has mentioned that he's been informed that the man is suffering from cancer. So he knows he's not well.
But in his own statement, he again rejects the fact that he doesn't think Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is an invalid.
That is a contradiction with him.
You see, charging him, I don't think that once there is any law that doesn't stop you from charging him,
go ahead.
You can't even speak of public policy. What you can say is that he's only exercising his discretion not to do so, right?
And in situations like this, he should.
Considerations, moral considerations, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
But once the two of us agree that there's no law, right, that stops him from that stops him from charging, that stops the USP from charging
Definitely.
right?
Okay.
Then I think that, the need for other considerations and so on and so forth,
okay,
well seem to be speculated at this point.
Okay, Council, so yes, please finish. I wanted to ask a last question before I let you go, but please finish.
Oh, please go on.
Okay,
I think that the point.
So I see on the Interpol platform that the justification that they give for posting Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is that they have received from the Ghanaian authorities that they are saying that he used public office for private gain, and under the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29, I see that is I think section 179 or so, section 179A. But it looks like the special prosecutor had to give justification to Interpol for them to accept his request for someone to be listed as wanted. But he is yet to charge him here locally. Should we take a cue from what he has sent to Interpol? Because it's clearly stated on the Interpol website, using public office for private gain. And I see that in the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29, Section 179.
Okay, so to tell you one thing, that should tell you that it is international best practice that unless a person is even charged, you can't even declare the person wanted. Are you getting me? That is international best practice. Hello?
Yes, Council, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
I'm saying that it is international best practice. And that is why you have to give those details. You understand? But it's clear where he's going to on this from the details that he has given. But that said, he can also even change whatever he has put there when it comes to the prosecution or charge domestically. And that wouldn't affect him in any way.
The question that I'm asking is that, technically speaking, shouldn't the special prosecutor have done this locally at the local courts where Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta can be tried? Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta cannot be tried by Interpol. Even if they get him, they have to bring him to Ghana. So shouldn't he have gone ahead to first institute the charges against him here in Ghana before going ahead to the international space?
My brother. This is the point you have all been making. I mean, it's the point you have all been making. That look, if you have something against him, comment something locally. Comment something locally. And I've also made a point that if it is the case that you need Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta before you can even charge him, then clearly your case against him is weak. Your case against him is weak because Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta can choose not to talk when he appears before you. Is that not the case? He can choose not to talk. And so if you have anything against him concrete, right, go ahead, prefer a charge against him locally. And then on the basis of that, you can now launch a manhunt for him globally. But he doesn't seem to be doing that. And all he's been doing is press conference, right? And as I said, even the content of his press conference, right, the granular details sometimes he gives, for me, is problematic. Because, like I pointed out, there have been several of these press conferences that came to naught. You know? So,
yeah,
I think that, he has to really revise his approach if he wants to get results and wants to sustain, if not win back, the little credibility he has with Ghanaians.
Okay, so there is Edwin Tapp, who is on Facebook, who says that this whole unfolding drama with OSP versus Ken Ofori-Atta is becoming so clear now. The OSP doesn't want to charge Ken Ofori-Atta in his absence and proceed to court. So if Ken happens to return, he will go straight to court and offer his defense. The OSP simply wants to enjoy that power of arresting Ken to ridicule him before proceeding to court.
I agree.
quick comment, Council.
I doubt that is what the OSP wants to do, because if you've looked at all the things KCC has done, it hasn't been the case that he arrests people and then he ridicule them and so on and so forth. That hasn't been his MO. That hasn't been his modus operandi. So it becomes very difficult for you to say that that is what he wants to do. If he had done that in the past, then you can say that is what he's looking forward to doing. But he hasn't done it in the past, and so it becomes very difficult for him to accept it. Okay, I don't think so. Why he cannot proceed in the absence of Ken, so that when he's in town, he can go through the motions and then offer his defense. I don't know. But like I said, I am worried because, similar things have come to naught. And so, we need to be careful in terms of our approach.
All right, Council, thank you very much. And so that is, you've been listening to NABA. So NABA, Nana J. Bafo Ewa. He's a lawyer in private practice. He's a member of parliament for Menchia South constituency and a friend of Asaase Radio. Thank you very much, Council,
Thank you very much.
Speaking to us here on Asaase. Yes. All right, so let's come back to the studio. And my guest who is with me here in the studio for now, all others on their way to join us, is Council Oredu. So, Council, yes. So, the issue about but just before I come to you, let me do this, because if I don't do it, I risk maybe losing my job. And that is because the human resource manager here, head of human resource and administration here at Asaase Radio, is celebrating her birthday today. It's the it is the 7th day of the month of June, 2025, and it is Ivy Akosia Esabia Obing's birthday. And so, happy birthday to you. We all call her Ivy here at Asaase Radio. If they don't call her Ivy, they call her HR. I don't know why they call her HR, but
that's a big position.
Yes, she has a name. She's called Ivy, and people say HR because of her function. So happy birthday to you, Ivy. Akosia is we fought small. We like to fight. We fight small, then we come together. Then we fight. Then we come together. But right now, we are together.
That's the nature of the HR job. You will always fight.
You always fight. Okay. So as it stands today, we are together. And I don't think I envisage that we'll fight again.
I'm not sure the fight is in her nature. It's about her job. So sometimes just allow.
I should just allow.
Yeah. It's a job.
Thank you for your advice.
It comes with the offers.
Okay, so from me alone, Asabia, from me alone, happy birthday to you, and from everybody else in Asaase, happy birthday to you. We celebrate you. We thank you for your good service for Asaase Radio. Okay, let's come back to our discussion. I looked at the letter.
Yes.
That was circulating. In fact, 2 letters. The first has to do with the communication from the hospital, the Mayo Clinic. The second one has to do with letters from Ken Ofori-Atta's lawyers to the OSP. Now, the one from the hospital essentially was detailing the health condition of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta and why he's unable to travel to return to the country. The second is from his lawyers to the OSP, also trying to emphasize the challenge that their client finds himself in and why he's unable to come. And then also the suggestion that I am available for you to take my statement via video link because of the delay. We don't want to continue with the delay. But in spite of these 2 letters, the OSP seems to say that he is convinced, based on available information to him, that Mr. Ofori-Atta has no intentions of returning to Ghana to face what he calls justice. I want your thoughts on those 2 letters, which I believe you have seen.
Yes, I
have. Having seen them, how should that have informed the actions of the OSP?
Well, let me greet your listeners once again. And I'm sure it's in order to wish my Muslim friends happy Eid. It was just yesterday. And
I was fighting my friends for not bringing me meat.
Usually the meats will come today because
the
day of the Eid is usually for prayers and reflections and sitting down to have some interactions among themselves. But the meat proper is usually the day after. So I'm not sure it's too late. You may get your meat. So just be patient.
Sure.
Yeah, I've seen those letters, and let me first say that all matters involving investigations, charges, and all that are left to the discretion of the special prosecutor. So as to the weight he puts on those letters, as to how he deems them, remains his discretion. But having said that, we would also be quick to add that ill health and matters of health are not things that people just toy with. I mean, nobody would say or feign illness when he is not. And the person we're talking about is no other person but Mr. Kenneth Ofori-Atta. He has a lot of integrity to protect. He has a lot of reputation to protect. So I'm not sure he will feign ailment. I mean, I'm not sure that he will use sickness as a cover-up for his coming to face what Mr. Kissi Agyabeng calls justice. So I think in all his use of his discretion, he should add a human face. He himself even said in his press statement that, and listeners should allow me to speak, he says, sickness is not something that you exploit because you can, because it's affecting somebody. So for me, knowing Mr. Ofori-Atta's personality, the kind of reputation he built even before he joined politics, I'm not sure, and I'm very certain that he's just using the ailment as paper over cracks. No, I'm not sure. So I think what Mr. Kissi Agyabeng has to do is to at least give some level of trust, because especially with the lawyers involved, these are very reputable lawyers. Mr. Minka Premo is a very senior, well-known lawyer. Mr. Frank David, these are not lawyers who you would not trust to be dealing with as giving you proper documentation covering the health of Mr. Ofori-Atta. So sometimes, even as colleagues, we should respect each other and give ourselves the benefit of doubt. So even if it is Mr. Ofori-Atta that you doubt, he's been represented by very top-notch lawyers, and their credibility is also on the line as well. So I don't see the haste about sort of disbelieving that Mr. Ofori-Atta is sick, when he himself even admitted in his press statement that he's suffering from prostate cancer. And for me, I have witnessed issues of prostate cancer. I mean, my dad suffered it, issues of catheter here and there and all that. So public appearance when people are suffering from such ailment is not easy. So for me, what he makes of those letters are purely within his discretion. But he should just add the human face and understand that the person he's dealing with is no mean person who just feign ailment. The lawyers representing him are lawyers of high repute. They won't bring these letters. They won't have such correspondence with you as a special prosecutor, knowing that their reputation is on the line as well. So that is where I would come from, that yes, it is a matter of his exercise of his discretion, but he should consider some of these things. The persons involved, the persons representing them. Who will go and fake a letter saying that I am sick? Lawyers know. And the question we all would have to ask is, he seems not to believe it. But which other information does he have which is contrary to what has been provided for him? He should state that. If you don't believe that these letters are genuine and are true representations of the state of health of Mr. Ofori-Atta, you have all avenues available to you to come out with probably a contradictory position. But if you haven't done that, then I believe that how he has treated those letters, I mean, is unfair. That is what I would say.
Okay, so usually, so this issue about letters and official communication between lawyers and all that is something that is quite intriguing, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it. But you know, some people also say that there is a thin line between the work of a lawyer and the work of an investigator, or for that matter, a prosecutor. So people are saying that the work that Mr. Agyabeng is doing as special prosecutor at the investigative level is different from the work that he has to do as a lawyer at the prosecution level. And so when it comes to investigations, he would go the way of typical investigators. When it comes to the way of prosecution, then you go the way of a typical prosecutor and all that. What do you think is this thin line that is between investigations and prosecution? You deal with a lot of investigators as a lawyer.
Of course. Let me add that, yes, of course, if you look at the act that established the office of the special prosecutor, he's both an investigator and a prosecutor. But then, let me deal with this matter which I think is pertinent. If you listen to the narrative, if you look at the past conduct of Mr. Agyabeng in handling the cases of, let's say, La Bianca, Sir John, Cecilia Dapa, and this one. I am tempted to believe that going forward, the appointing authorities would have to really exercise good discretion in their choice of who becomes a special prosecutor. I say this because the name in itself is Office of Special Prosecutor. Even if you look at the act that establishes, I think section 13, it talks about the fact that the person should be somebody who has expertise in corruption and corruption-related matters. So, for a prosecutor's office, I think that the person who would be entrusted with such a position should have some level of prosecution experience, or should have at least worked with entities that had exposed him to prosecutorial powers. Because you see, even with the Attorney General's Department, which is headed by a lawyer, and usually a more senior lawyer, there is that office of the DPP, which is the Director of Public Prosecutions. Because prosecution in itself is a specialized area of law. You don't just get somebody you believe is competent in law, but the person should have some exposure when it comes to the use of prosecutorial discretion.
But just to establish that the Special Prosecutor Office also has a Director of Public Prosecution.
Yes, I just want to come to that.
Okay.
So I'm saying that the person who gives direct instructions to the people under him should himself or herself be exposed to some level of prosecution, at least some extensive level. Because you see the narrative about Mr. Chaben, how he has handled Sir John, how he has handled Cecilia Dapa, how he has handled La Bianca, and how he's handling this case. There's a clear evidence of a deficit of prosecutorial knowledge, as an extensive prosecutorial knowledge. If you ask me, I stand to be corrected, but I think that there's that lack of that touch of finesse for a prosecutor.
But he has a deputy special prosecutor who has been a prosecutor for a very long time, Madame Cecilia Lamte.
Yes, I know her very well, but all we see is press conferences here and there. And I am thinking that it is probably not a good attribute of a special prosecutor, because last year or sometime 2 years ago, in one of his conferences, he took a dig at the courts. That he goes to courts, he does his best, and he has become Uncle Nam and all that. If you are cut for prosecution, you leave these things, you leave certain matters to certain people. So for me, I believe that there should be some level of extensive experience in that field. And I'm not sure, so far, judging by the narrative and his conduct, he's exhibited that. So if you'd ask me, that is what I would say. And coming to the question that you asked, yes, of course, when you are investigating, you use all available itinerary at your disposal to investigate. When you prosecute, then you know that you are not alone. But when you are investigating, it is usually two parties, the investigator and the person to be investigated. But when it comes to prosecution, there's a neutral arbiter there who is a lawyer. So definitely the approaches are not the same. But remember that the dispensation we have for ourselves is rule of law. So even when you are investigating and the person decides not to cooperate, there is a way for you. Because Mr. Furiata could just come before you and decide not to speak. Because our law says I'm innocent until proven guilty. And who does the proof? It is you. You should adduce all evidence available. There's no law that requires my cooperation when you're investigating me. Because at the end of the day, the proof lies with you. You should gather every evidence available for you. And you don't expect me to give you ammunition to shoot at me. So even if I'm not appearing before you, you should on your own probably would have built a better case that you think will stand the test of prosecution. So if at the investigation stage you still require my cooperation, then it says and touches a lot about the evidence you have gathered so far. Because at the investigative stage, you are supposed to do everything, all that you may need from me are some answers which I am not required under law to give. It is even not mandatory for me to sit before you and answer your questions. So I'm not sure probably he's getting Mr. Furiata to come before him to force him to speak. Probably there are other reasons that he may not want to tell us. And like you pointed out, on the international level, he seemed to have come as to the charges he was going to charge Mr. Ofuriata with. But locally, we don't know. So that is why we are asking that he doesn't need Mr. Ofuriata to sort of firm up his investigations. He could do that all by himself. When he goes to court, then it is required of Mr. Ofuriata to prove his innocence or otherwise. Because when you go to court, the charges are read and you are called upon to say whether you are guilty or not guilty. That's a different ballgame. So at this level, cooperation or otherwise of Mr. Ofori-Atta is not so essential. That is what I would say.
Okay, so I'm trying to do a comparison of someone who has been posted as wanted on the website of the Ghana Police and another person who has been posted as wanted on the Special Prosecutor's page. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when I look at the police one, it says this. It says that current warrant number or court warrant number and dated 2023-2024 of 31st December 2024. Sex, male, age 33, complexion dark, occupation sales representative, wanted for stealing, contrary to section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 29, 1960. Last seen September 2024 at Winneba Central Region or Tantra Hills in the Greater Accra region. Believed to be hiding in La Paz or Weja in the Greater Accra region or in the Central region. Anyone with information about the suspect and his whereabouts should kindly contact the nearest police station, Tesano Divisional CID, and call certain numbers and all that. And this person who is wanted is his name is provided Teddy Comey. Okay, so the reason why I'm saying this is I'm doing this comparison is because if you look at the face of the document, the wanted document posted by the police, first there's a charge.
Definitely.
So what it means is that the wanted person list, you are listed there because you are wanted for a specific charge.
Yes.
And then there is also indication that the person, nobody knows where the person is.
He's hiding.
He's hiding. So you cannot see him. You don't know where he is.
Yes.
And that is why they've declared him wanted.
Yes.
There is no indication that this person has his lawyers or assigns or there's any correspondence between him and the police.
Yes.
The evidence on the record shows clearly that this guy is missing, but we are looking for him.
Yes.
But on the contrary, if you look at what we have on the OSP website for wanted persons, and I'm doing this because I want to pick your thoughts on what really goes. So I see the Ken Ofori-Atta one, and I see the name Ken Ofori-Atta. Date of birth is there, 7th November 1958. Age 66. Gender male. Eyes black. Hair black. Distinguishing marks not applicable. Complexity brown skin. Possible location: United States, United Kingdom, South Africa, Guyana, Hong Kong. And these are the possible locations. And then reasons: this suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases involving strategic mobilization, GRA contract, termination of the ECG BXC contract, National Cathedral payment, ambulance procurement contract, and tax refund account utilization. So if you look at the reason, which if you compare to the police, it says wanted for stealing, contrary to section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act. There's a specific breach of a specific law. But if you look at this, says reason: this suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases involving strategic mobilization, GRA, blah blah blah. I think I see a disparity.
I get what you're saying. You see, the requirements for the various publications may be different, but the principles are the same. The principles are that your presence is required because you've been charged or you are needed to assist investigations and you have gone into hiding. These are the principles. Your presence is required, but deliberately on your side, you don't want to produce yourself. These are the basic principles. So if you look at what the police have done, we don't have the factual situations to probably dissect it well. But for Mr. Ofori-Atta's issue, we have the factual situation. So let's take the elements here. You are needed by the police or by any investigative body and you have gone into hiding. The question we need to ask ourselves here in respect of Mr. Ofori-Atta's case is that, has he gone into hiding? Has he deliberately decided not to show up? The answer is no. Why do I say that the answer is no? He's had his lawyers trying to do some discussions, do some correspondence with the OSP. He's had 2 letters which have identified his location, because in all those letters we are made to believe, and of course I do believe, that he's in the United States. But because of, I don't know, for whatever reason, he's listed about 5 countries. That shows you something, because he has dealt with his lawyers since February and they have been very consistent about his location. So for you to go on your website and pretend as if you never know the location of Mr. Ofori-Atta, then you are being unfair to him. Because this clearly defeats the second leg of whether the person has gone into hiding. If I'm into hiding, why would I let my lawyers negotiate with you? Why would I produce letters to as evidence of my ailment? I'm not into hiding. So that is why I am of the firm belief that probably, Mr. Bafwe thinks that the special prosecutor just doesn't want to arrest Mr. Ofori-Atta. But I am of the firm belief that he wants to do so. He really wants to do so, because judging by how he has gone about this whole thing, he really wants to arrest the person and probably take him through some processes. Because you see, first and foremost, you could be offered the assistance of teleconferencing if it is a statement that you want. These days, the courts have moved on. We are even serving processes on WhatsApp. Legal practice in Ghana allows, we've moved on. We've done teleconferences. We've done so many things. There's the mention of he having to travel to the United Kingdom to meet somebody. He could have done that for Mr. Ofori-Atta as well. So if he has not resorted to all these avenues, there's a clear intention. And for me, at least only one conclusion, that he really wants to arrest the person of Mr. Ofori-Atta. Because other than that, there's a clear and a deliberate effort on the part of ASP to paint the picture as if Mr. Ofori-Atta has gone into hiding. And it cannot be the case, looking at the factual circumstances. The man is not hasn't gone into hiding. The man is sick. The man is asking his lawyers to negotiate with you. Even the lawyers suggested that we could provide teleconferencing, video calling, just if it is a statement that you want. We could do this thing for you. So when you go onto your website to pretend as if you don't know his location, then you are not being fair to the man.
I think at the other side of it is the fact that before he traveled outside of the jurisdiction,
he went to talk.
He actually informed the chief of staff, the president, in fact, the then serving chief of staff, and even when there was a subsequent change of government, he had the occasion to inform the new chief of staff that I am out of the jurisdiction. And so at all material times, it appears he has taken steps to make his location or whereabout known.
No, in any case, why would somebody with the personality of Mr. Ofori-Atta go into hiding? For what reason? Is it that he cannot afford lawyers? Is it that he doesn't care about his reputation? What is it? Because even the president has said that accountability is something that he expects all his former appointees should be ready to face. So what is it that Mr. Ofori-Atta would come to face with a special prosecutor such that he'll go into hiding? I think Mr. OSP has blown this whole thing out of proportion. I don't know what he wants to make out of this whole situation, but I think, honestly, he's not being fair to the person of Mr. Ofori-Atta. We are not here to probably defend Mr. Ofori-Atta, because even as we speak, the charges are speculative. Dealings with SML, all those kind of stuff. We are not even certain as to the charge, apart from when he went to the international platform that he preferred a specific charge. Here, he's been speculative about his dealings and his transactions. And you know very well, listeners should understand that offenses are those which have been prescribed in law with their sanction. So if you are being speculative on your website and yet pretend to not to know the whereabouts of Mr. Ofori-Atta, you are actually not being fair to him. I don't know if it is a personal score, but this is not how to deal with an individual who is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty.
So on the personal score thing, I want us to talk a bit about it. But, I also find it interesting that the OSP's website says that the suspect is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases. Answering of charges. Do you answer charges in front of investigators, or you answer charges in the court?
Well, you see, when it's a process. So when you get arrested, they'll tell you that you are being investigated or being about charged if your caution statement has been taken on the charges of A, B, and C. So at that level, yes, you'll be called upon to respond to the charges that may be preferred against you. But by the time it goes to court, the prosecutor would have considered the statement you had been given vis-a-vis the evidence before him to sort of trash out the preferred and proper charges that you would have to answer to in court. So yes, at that level, he could do that as well.
At the investigative level?
Yes, you need to know the charges, because a person arrested is a constitutional profession. A person who is arrested is supposed to know why he's arrested, the charges for which he's been arrested, and he has opportunity for law. That is a constitutional imperative. So yes, he would know by then, even at the investigative stage, but his answers and his defense will be in the court of law.
Okay, all right. I'm comparing Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's listing on the OSP website with another person who has also been listed, and he goes by the name Derek Anson, and he says, reason: Derek Anson is wanted in connection with an ongoing investigations into corruption and corruption-related offences, including but not limited to corruption, bribery, abuse, or public office for profit, as well as aiding and abetting others to commit corruption and corruption-related offences. So this person is wanted in connection with an ongoing investigation. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta is a suspect who is wanted to answer charges in respect of several cases involving blah, 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 blah. So I'm just trying to do the comparison, because as it stands now, we know the OSP is investigating issues to do with Ken.
Yes.
But I think that I don't know what you say, but I'm suspecting that, or I'm seeing that he appears to have settled on a charge against Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, but is yet to file it in the court in our country, because he probably wants to see Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta physically and charge him physically.
Honestly, he doesn't have to see him physically. If you think your evidence is strong, your investigations have led to real strong grounds to prosecute him, you can just charge him. You can just charge him and serve him with the notice of charge for him to appear before court. You don't need him if your investigations are that strong. That is why, for me, those who still believe that the man OSP just doesn't want to arrest Mr. Ofori-Atta, I disagree with them. Because everything is pointing out to one fact, that he wants to arrest the person of Mr. Ofori-Atta and just doesn't need him for investigation purposes. Because Mr. Ofori-Atta could say, I won't even attend the investigation and say it, so charge me, let's meet in court. Why would you put him on that wanted list? So for me, I stand to be corrected, but I'm of the firm belief that he wants to make a show out of the arrest of Mr. Ofori-Atta. That is what I'm of the firm belief. Because you see, if for nothing at all, this man, when he was leaving the country, had the good intent and purpose to just even inform all those that matter, that, you know what, I'm sure he anticipated a situation like this, that, you know what, I'm going this way for ill health and treating myself. If you need me, I'm here. So who will go into hiding and disclose his location? Who will do that?
So Christopher Abe is saying on Facebook, the special prosecutor is behaving like Ken Ofori-Atta slept with his wife or girlfriend. It is very unfortunate to handle Ken Ofori-Atta this way, even if he has killed someone. The special prosecutor himself needs to be charged for causing financial loss to the state. The guy is a joke. And that is Christopher Abe's hardline message on this OSP discussion that we are having. Okay, so if you are just joining us, you are on Asaase Radio. Asaase Radio is 99.5 here in Accra, is 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, and 99.7 in Tamale. We are also live on Facebook on Asaase 99.5, and again, we are live on ABC Television. ABC Television is a channel that you can flip your TV and find on. And we are discussing the special prosecutor versus Ken Ofori-Atta. This issue about personal.
Yes, I am of the firm belief that he really wants to settle a personal score with Mr. Ofori-Atta.
Okay, so where would this, when we say somebody has a personal score with someone, it always has a genesis.
Yes.
Or it has a connection, it has a beginning. What is the history between the two of them to warrant anybody saying that there is a personal score to be settled between Kisi Ejabing and Ken Ofori-Atta?
I may not be privy to the historical circumstances between the two, but the factual situation surrounding how the OSP has conducted himself in respect of Mr. Ofori-Atta's case should allow and permit me to come to that conclusion. Because right from February, he came with the same presser, put the man out there. There is a case in court against the OSP, between Mr. Oforiatta and the OSP. I hope
yes, it's a defamation
case.
Yes,
there's a case in court like that. Two of them. There's one challenging his mandate to be able to declare him as wanted.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first one. And there's one about causing damage to his heart-earned reputation. So these two cases are all pending before the High Court of the Republic of Ghana. So maybe, I don't know, but for me, nobody can convince me that it is not because he wants to just arrest Mr. Oforiatta and make a show of him. Because you see, one, you know his location, but on your website, you pretend not to know his location. You have actually put 5 countries out there, when the letters that were addressed to your office all had one country, which is the United States of America. So when you go and put on your website, as if Mr. Oforiatta, one person, could be found in all these 5 countries, what you are trying to do is to give a dog a bad name and hang him, because you are very much aware of his whereabouts. When you know very well that in the case of one Alfred Mahama, you had to travel all the way to engage him as part of your investigations, but yet you don't want to do that for Mr. Oforiatta, I'll come to the conclusion that you have a personal score with him and you want to make a show out of his arrest. When you know very well that even in our current dispensation, we allow for teleconferencing, when you know that this evidence which you gather through teleconferencing or video conferencing is as valid as the person showing up before you and producing same evidence, and you can use that to go ahead with your investigation and charges, and yet you fail to do it and publish him, it's a personal score you have against him. So I may not be privy to any historical circumstances between the two, but all the surrounding facts point to one conclusion, that he just wants to arrest Mr. Oforiatta and make a show out of him.
Okay, so this letter that we talk about, let's disclose the details of this letter. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen it already, but this letter is from Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic is in Rochester, Minnesota, in the United States, and the address it provides is 200 First Street, Southwest, Rochester, Minnesota 55909. And if you and it provides a telephone number 507-284-2411 and a website mayoclinic.com.
Yes, in fact, in one of the letters, I think the lawyer or the person, the doctor or the person who wrote it said, in case you need further,
so that's what I'm just about to read. Yes. So it provides Ken Oforiatta's name and his local address here in Laboni in Accra, and then it is dated 14th May 2025. Reference Ken Nana Yao Oforiatta, and it talks about MC hashtag 12-988024. I believe that will be the reference number of the patient in the hospital. And it talks about his date of birth, which is 7th November 1959, which is also there. And then it says, to whom it may concern. And then it comes, dear sir or madam, I am writing to inform you that Mr. Oforiatta has undergone an MR guided biopsy and has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. A surgical intervention has been deemed necessary after the testing of the MRI and biopsy procedure in March 2025. As I indicated in my February letter, this surgical procedure has been scheduled for June 13th with Dr. Paris Shai of the Department of Oncology. See attached letter. It is hoped that a closer date may open up. So the 13th of June, the hospital is saying that perhaps maybe they might even do it a bit earlier.
You know, surgeries are scheduled.
Yes. In fact, 13th June is 6 days away from now.
Yes.
Okay. And then he says that following the procedure, Mr. Oforiatta will require a recovery period before he is able to travel to his home country. Please feel free to contact me if you require any additional information or have further questions. Best regards, Ahmed Abdelhin.
Yes.
He's the MD, FACP, FSVM. And these are all his credentials as a hospital. He says that he's a section of international medicine in Rochester, GIM Mayo Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota. And it is also copied to Dr. Paris Shai, who is the one who is going to be doing the surgery. It is stamped with Mayo Clinic authentic document and dated and also signed by Ahmed Abdelhin. And so someone says that this letter is so authentic that it shouldn't create any confusion.
It shouldn't at all, and it is also very consistent with the one in February. If you have the letter, the one in February asking for the extension, this is very consistent with that. So if you accepted that particular one, why would you now want us to believe that you don't know his whereabouts? For me, I mean, I'll tell you, nobody would convince me that the only thing the OSP wants to do is to arrest the person of the OSP and make a show out of it.
You mean the person of the
Mr. Oforiatta, and make a show out of it?
Okay, so this is another letter. This is another letter which is from OBB. And if you don't know what OBB is I think it's Menka Premu, Ose Bonsu, and Bruce Catlin and Partners.
Yes,
that is the law firm.
Yes.
Okay, so it's dated 28th May 2025 and it's addressed to Kisi Ejaben, the Special Prosecutor, Office of the Special Prosecutor, 6th Haile Selassie Avenue, South Ridge, and then the digital address number GA0790906. DSA update on the medical position of Ken Oforiatta. Further to our letter of 16th February, 18th February.
Which date was that? 28th May,
28th
right?
of May.
Before the 2nd June expired.
Yes,
okay.
yes. So further to our letter of 18th February 2025 and following your indulgence dated 18th February 2025, wherein you rescheduled the interview date to 2nd June 2025, we wish to inform you that the medical expert has diagnosed our client with cancer and has thus earmarked 13th June 2025 for surgery, for which reason our client is unable to return to Ghana as scheduled. As you are aware, this situation has been brought to the attention of the court in order not to hold you back in the performance of your function regarding interviewing our client. And the word there is interviewing our client, who you deemed a suspect. We have instructions to inform you of our client's readiness to go through video recording interview, VRI, for the purpose of your office eliciting a caution statement from him on the 2nd of June 2025 or a date at your convenience. All right. So we shall be ready to meet you in person if your office is in your office to enable you view the biopsy report of our client. Alternatively, we may approach the bench for such viewing if that is your preference. We count on your cooperation regarding the VRI. Yours faithfully, Menka Premu, Ose Bonsu, Bruce Catlin and Partners, and is signed Justice Kusi Menka Premu, Esquire, Solicitor for Mr. Ken Oforiatta, and copy to Mr. Ken Oforiatta to his Laboni residence here in Ghana.
You remember I made this point that even if you have doubts because Mr. Oforiatta would not want to come to the jurisdiction, the people who represent him are top-notch lawyers. Lawyers of high repute. They communicate with you daily. They won't risk their reputation in such a manner. You remember I said that initially. Yes. And has Mr. Ajaben responded to this letter? No. But he came back with a press conference, pretending as if this letter never existed.
Which was same, because in the previous episode, before the 18th of February decision that they reached, they had written a letter to the special prosecutor. He failed to respond and then held a press conference. And then after the press conference, he went ahead to now respond. And then when they spoke and exchanged letters, they agreed to modify the meeting date to 2nd of June. 2nd June came, the meeting couldn't happen.
No, 28th letter preceded the 2nd June.
I'm just saying that, but I'm just saying that the 2nd June date came and the said meeting could not happen. So what stops the special prosecutor from continuing with the legal engagement with his lawyers, but rather choosing to do a press conference again?
Or at least resorting to the suggestion of using the video recording, because they are ready to let their clients go through the video recording. I mean, most lawyers will not want to do that because sometimes you need to be by the side of your clients to sort of prompt him when we do one or two maneuvers when we go, but they are foregoing that and saying that, you know what, we could do this arrangement for you. Have a video conference with him. Let him tell you whatever you want. Caution him if you want to. It is a clear indication that they are not trying to evade any liability, or they are not trying to evade or disrespect your invitation for interview. So if you go around all these things, my problem, which I find a bit for lack of better words, I'll say hypocritical, is the suggestion per his publication to be oblivious or pretend to be oblivious or not to be in the know of the whereabouts of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. That is really, really, really unfair, Mr. Jabe. That is really, really unfair. That is why I will repeat it and say that it is as if he has a personal score and wants to arrest the person of Mr. Ofori-Atta to make a show out of it.
Okay, so good morning, Wilberforce, and your noble panelist. I am not a lawyer, but from those public evidence and through your submissions about Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta and the OSP banter, I possibly adduce that Kissie Ejabing has a special and personal interest in the case with the indisposed ex-finance minister. Are you suggesting, are you sure the legal status Kissie Ejabing is claimed to be is real? It's surprising to me of such conduct of him. Position is transient. And that is Samuel Ofosu-Bar's message. So Ofosu-Bar has occasion to do a comparison and an analysis of the details that we are putting out there. And to him, it is informing him of some challenges that he thinks Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, Mr. Kissie Ejabing may have with Ken Ofori-Atta. You know, on this issue of challenge, some people have said that Kissie Ejabing has long been associated with Armia Anas. And Anas, if you remember, did some investigations on the finance ministry.
Oh, okay.
One of the investigations he did targeted the then deputy finance minister, Mr. Edubuahin,
okay,
and also the then finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta.
Okay.
There were occasions where he met Ken Ofori-Atta, he and his team trapped Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta in Dubai while he was on his way to Japan or to China or something of that sort. And they tried to offer him money and he rejected the money.
Yes.
And they failed to come and put that out, but they put out the one involving Edubuahin and indicated that he had taken some money, blah, 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 and all that. Some people are saying that that connection with Kissie Ejabing's connection with Armia Anas vis-a-vis Anas's attempt to investigate Ken Ofori-Atta and failing at it has something to do with the hardline position that Mr. Kissie Ejabing appears to have taken against Ken Ofori-Atta.
Well, I don't know much about that situation and how it's panned out. But for me, I think this whole situation has some undercurrents. As to where it comes from, I'm unable to pinpoint it, but everything shows that he's taking too much of a personal interest in this matter. Because remember that all that you have to do is to charge him and take him to court. You don't declare the verdict as for a judge. So if at this level you are behaving in this manner, it is as if you are convinced that the person has already committed the offense. But all that you would have to do is to charge the person and arraign him before a court. You cannot even pronounce as to his innocence or otherwise, his guilt or otherwise. It has to be by a pronouncement of a court. But he is behaving as if he has so much evidence that I don't know. So for me, I believe that it's a bit unnecessary and superfluous.
Anyway, so when it comes to the issue of prosecutors and they are charging of people, because I have worked as a correspondent from the court.
Yes, I remember you very well.
I see that prosecutors always have maybe it's called the prosecutor's edge. Because when the prosecutor is coming to court, he's so confident about his case that I have a case against you. He's so convinced about it that he doesn't even care what is happening around him or in the court. All he knows is that he has a case and he's dealing with the case. It appears Mr. Kissie Ejabing has gotten to a conclusion in himself that he has a case against Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. So it doesn't matter whatever happens. He's convinced that he has a case and that he's going to pursue. But is that the way to go? Because you are still not the court.
I'm not sure. He has been a defense attorney for quite some time now. I remember he did the Tagore case. You remember that case, I think MV Benjamin or something. Mr. Kissie Ejabing himself has been a defense counsel for a very long time.
Oh, yes. I've seen him in a case, I think it was a case to do with the venture capital.
Oh,
venture capital. He was lawyer for two of the accused persons.
I think
in
he
the
was
venture
lawyer for Tagore as well in the MV Benjamin case. So he himself a long time has been a defense counsel. So I'm sure he knows the nuances of prosecution. That is why I am tempted to believe, and I'm still convinced that there's something personal about this particular case, because he knows that nobody would just allow you to push his or her clients just inside. You would have a tougher time in court. I mean, you need to prove all the allegations. So it is not like you're going to have a field day in court. So for me, I think he should hasten slowly, especially for somebody who has the experience of a defense counsel and know all the ramifications of prosecution. But you see, it is something with prosecutors. It looks like their successes are tied to the number of convictions. So you meet a prosecutor and the narratives about how many convictions have you secured so far. But you see, the truth is that justice is both ways. If somebody goes to court and has a verdict in his way, it is justice. If it is convicted, the person is convicted, it's also justice. You remember the I think the DC who was charged with about 26 counts. What happened to him?
Yeah, recently he was acquitted
and discharged.
Yes.
So you can charge, but the final verdict doesn't lie with you. That is why I'm tempted to believe that there's something which lies probably in personal motivation in the manner he's handling Mr. Oforiatta's case.
Okay, so my sister Ama Deko has finally made her way to the studio this morning. I've seen her in several pictures all over the world. Somewhere, is it in Belgium or somewhere be like that? Hey, Charlie.
She's an international woman.
Yeah, good morning to you, Ama. She's my sister. She's my, are you my sister or you are my sister-in-law?
I'm your sister-in-law.
Your sister-in-law,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Ama, good morning to you, and it's good to see you.
Yes, it's good to be back.
How was the international trips?
It was good, but I don't enjoy traveling. So, right now, I honestly do not enjoy traveling. I like the locations, but I wish there was another way of getting there.
A faster way.
You know why? 6 hours in the flight, 10 hours in the flight. It's not my thing.
I know. I understand.
Sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to go. So.
I understand. You are not alone. Okay.
And it was all MPP matters. We went for the International Democracy Union conference that is held annually in Belgium. And then Dr. Baumia also had a few conferences that he had. He was a keynote speaker. And
I think in one university in the US.
Cambridge.
Cambridge in the UK.
Yes, in the UK.
Okay. And then
the IDE was in Belgium, so we just did 2 countries and we came back.
Okay, all right.
We had a lot of things to do.
I understand.
And since you've given me the opportunity, let me say good morning to everybody and say thank you to all the MPP grassroots and supporters. We finished with a thank you tour, I think last Wednesday in the Central Region. The Central Region was last because we lost our chairman there and we had to finish the funeral and everything before you go and say thank you. So I want to say a big special thank you to our people in the Central Region. God bless you. And as Doc said, we are reorganizing. Next month we're having our conference.
Is it next month or this month?
July.
Is it July?
It's in July.
It's in July.
Okay.
So, yes, the rebuilding starts. And it started already, so it continues.
Okay.
It is quite obvious that we need to put our act together and come back. Because today I brought... Is Nia around? Has he come back?
No, see,
the last time I checked, he was outside Ghana.
Yeah, I'm told that
he's my lawyer now.
Yes, I know. I'm told that he's in transit outside of the jurisdiction, and so he was going to join us via video link. Okay. Yes.
Because I have a few things for him in relation to the petrol. I brought carrots. I have tomatoes.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Let me list them. I have onions. I have palm oil.
Oh, you brought palm oil.
And then I have my son's boxes.
Okay.
Brand new ones.
Okay.
We'll have a discussion about them.
Okay. All right. Okay. So just before I come to you to share your thoughts on the OSP matter.
Palm oil is boring.
It's boring. Sorry. Okay. So Kweku Ohiming Boache, one of my very good friends who listens to us a lot in Scotland.
There's Pepper too.
There's Pepper. Okay. So do you know why the OSP is doing this? He knows that Ghanaians see his office as one of the most ineffective state institutions ever established in our history. He is trying hard to gain recognition from the public, but it's clearly not working. As a result, he has resorted to the emotionally unintelligent behavior. And that is Ohiming Boache's message. Wilberforce, the funny thing about the SP's case against Ken Oforiatta is that just think of him, SP, winning the case against Ken Oforiatta on these charges. common DC, he can't win a case against him. Okay. And there is JC who says that some of us really don't care. The don't care. The president, by his decision and actions, push us into opposition. We are busy trying to get Ghanaians to believe in our party once again. Nanado and his family should deal with their issues. We don't care. Okay, so that is somebody's "I don't care" message there from for this morning. Mr. Kwame Janto has also just walked in. He's exchanging pleasantries with the females first before he does so.
No, he did that with me.
He did that with you first.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, so.
He's looking for trouble for you.
Mr. Janto, welcome. And I'll allow you to catch your breath. Somebody sent me a message that you were on another forum, and I just said in my head, you don't know Mr. Jantua. If he's faithful to you, he's faithful to you. Okay, Amma.
Yes.
I sought permission from your.
I know very well. Yeah. So when the person sent the message, I just laughed. Okay. So Amma.
Yes.
Kisi Ejabing is on the tail of the former finance minister. He says he doesn't believe that the former finance minister is sick, and that he thinks that the former finance minister is just running away from justice, and so he's chasing him to come and face justice. Your thoughts?
Did he give us evidence that the man is not sick?
Well, at least from his rhetoric, he says that he doesn't think Mr. Kenofriata is an invalid, incapable of traveling. Those were his words. Okay, let me not paraphrase. I'll read them. But invalid. Yes, invalid. Sorry, thank you for the correction. Okay, so Amma, your thoughts. I will look for what the special prosecutor said exactly, and then I will mention it as you speak, Amma.
Well, we've had this conversation with the special prosecutor for how many months now? Since February. And I beg his pardon, but it's becoming a bit stale. We are losing interest. If he really thinks that the man has done something wrong, I mean, you know that I have put law school on hold, so I cannot in any way say that I have knowledge of the law. I'm still learning. But I know that people can be tried in absentia.
Definitely.
So if you're looking for somebody, and for whatever reason he cannot show up, gather your evidence, send him to court. Because as we speak now, has Mr. Kenofriata been charged with anything?
No yet.
So we don't even know what he's talking about. He should just get him charged. And then we all know that we are in for business. But this business of show up, I'm not well. And you are telling us that you don't believe that he's not well. You are not a medical doctor. Medicine is not your field of expertise. You are a lawyer. And so if the person says he's sick, he's brought proof, because I saw some letter from his clinic, and so in fact I heard that he's even going in for surgery.
Yes, but what is even intriguing is the fact that his lawyer says that his biopsy report is available for viewing. That they didn't make public. They made a statement, but it says that if you want to double confirm, we have his biopsy report. We can approach the bench so that you see it, or we will bring it to your office so that you can see it. That is some kind of interesting stuff, if you ask me.
The point is that Mr. Furiata has not been well for a long time. We all know, including when he was minister and all that. There were times he had to take time off to go and get well, even for his vetting.
Yeah.
Do you remember? We had to hold his vetting for a while. And if you remember, that was one of the reasons our MPs who were asking him to resign also stated that, Papa, you're not feeling well. Some of us at that point, and I said it publicly, that if you were my father, I would gladly tell him that, I mean, you've done your bit. You don't need to do anything to prove yourself. You have to take care of yourself. So for me, this whole matter of putting him on red alert on Interpol, then you take him off, you declare him fugitive, you take him off, tomorrow you declare. In fact, I'm sure that people will not even take us seriously. It is either he's a fugitive or he's not. You do not call him a fugitive yesterday, and then when explanations come, you say I've taken him off. Then today too, he says he's going to do surgery, he's not well. Then you put him there again. To what purpose? If the man can't show up, he can't show up. He's not well. There's something about human beings and when we are not well. If you are not well, my dear, it doesn't matter what you do, you are not well. We are that, I don't know the word to use. You get sick small, which I got sick recently. That is when I understood that I'm actually past 40, so I'm actually green. Because I've always had this vitality. I'm talking about myself. I've always had this vitality. I've always been able to fight diseases. I'm the sort of person who gets malaria and I have my +4 and I'm walking around. But after I clocked 40, I realized that, hey, madam, calm down. We are human beings. Anything can happen. So if the man says that he's not well and he has brought proof that he's not well, I think the special prosecutor should go ahead, charge him to court, let the court processes start. And whilst he started, there are a lot of people who are also running from the law. Where is Madam Sadina Tamaklu? What is the latest on her case? Or that one, he's not interested.
Well,
and since he's going
the
round,
special prosecutor didn't prosecute her,
but then she's
it
missing.
was the state that prosecuted.
She's missing now. We can't find her. So since he can put people on Interpol, he should not red alert. He should also put her on red alert, or she's already there. If she's there, what's up with her case? And that reminds the AG. If the special prosecutor can't talk about that's the AG's department,
Yes.
What's up with her? Or because she's their party member, they can't talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. So there are a lot of issues going on. He should stop wasting our ears, stop wasting our time. If Mr. Kenoforiata has done anything wrong, charge him to court. Let the processes begin. We have a lot of things to do as a country. As we speak now, Dumso levy is on its way. By Monday, we'll be paying Dumso levy. Let us think about that one. Now, whether Mr. Kenoforiata will show up or he won't show up, he's a Ghanaian. Has he changed his nationality? So when he's well enough, I'm sure he'll come. In the meantime, charge him. So it's just come one interview. You want to interview him on a few cases. You want to ask him questions. So he should stop his medical processes, including surgery, and come and answer your questions.
Okay.
Let's move on now.
All right. So the next conversation we are going to have is the issue of the Dumso levy. Now that I have a full panel, but I'll pick Mr. Janto's thoughts on the OSP issues, and then from there we'll jump into the Dumso levy matter. So, Mr. Janto, the OSP, he says that he doesn't really believe. I'm looking at his letter or his statement that he read to the media. He says that Mr. Oforiatta has known at least since 21st March 2025 that no surgical procedure was to be performed on him in March. Yet he purportedly sat by indolently and chose not to inform the OSP of such fundamental changes in his circumstances. Instead, about 67 days after learning of the alleged changes or alleged changed circumstances around 21st March 2025, Mr. Oforiatta decided to spring a surprise on the OSP just 6 days before his scheduled attendance at the OSP by offering to undergo a video recorded interview and a viewing of his biopsy report. Back to the 28th of May 2025, letter from the lawyers of Mr. Oforiatta by a letter dated 30th May 2025, the OSP declined Mr. Oforiatta's offer of video recorded interview for the purpose of eliciting his caution statement. This office has always insisted on his personal attendance, and we have indicated clearly to him that we are unwilling to waive it. If we were amenable to taking any such statements from Mr. Oforiatta in absentia, we would have done so in February. We want him here physically, and we insist on it. So the special prosecutor is clear. I want to see you physically, whether you are fine or not.
That is the right. Good morning to our listeners, and to our Facebook panel, and to my brothers and sisters in the studio. That is the right of the special prosecutor. Nobody can determine how the special prosecutor should handle how he wants to question someone. But first of all, what are the issues and the investigation that Ken Oforiatta is being cited for? 1. Petroleum and Minerals Revenue Assurance, contract between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and GRA. 2. Electricity contract termination, cancellation of ECG's agreement with Beijing BXC. 3. National Cathedral, procurement and payment processes. 4. Ambulance deal, Ministry of Health contract for 307 ambulances. 5. GRA tax P fund, handling and disbursement of tax fund account. Wilberforce, these are grave issues. And really, for me, I'm not interested in talking about the nitty-gritties of what is being said there. That is not my interest. A person is proven innocent until proven guilty.
A person is innocent
Until
proven guilty.
Yes, innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
I don't want the court of public opinion to judge Kenufuriata. And so all that is going on creates a certain mindset which is not helpful. I believe one of the challenges that didn't put Kenufuriata's case in perspective was March 25th, when he indicated that he was going for a surgical operation. Before, this was February, when he knew it wouldn't come on, he should have gotten back, said to the special prosecutor, the operation didn't come on, but I am not fit to travel. Show evidence of it. Show evidence of it that you are not fit to travel. And hence, the operation or surgical intervention has been moved to this date. And so, the 2nd of June date you gave me, it would even transcend it. So let's try and arrange another date. I am willing to come down and answer the offenses that you have bestowed on me. Because, Wilberforce, I don't want to see Kenufuriata put in handcuffs, put in chains, and dragged into this country called Ghana. I don't want to see that. Nobody should go through that process. More so, somebody who has been a Minister of Finance of this country. And he hasn't been, what? Proven guilty.
He has actually not been charged.
Whatever the case is. Whatever the case is. At the present moment, there is no case against him. These are investigations going on. I would say, his handlers, if he can travel, let us know. Maybe the fear is the fact that if he comes in, they might seize his passport, they might not allow him to travel for his medical, and they would hold him here under investigation. But do you think President Mahama is that wicked? That Kenufuriata has come in, he is extremely sick. Do you think President Mahama will say, don't let him go? You think so? No, anybody.
But how do you bring President Mahama into this?
Yes. No, but President Mahama is not in charge of the.
Why do you bring? Yes, I'm wondering why you bring President Mahama into it, because if he appears before investigators, or let's say he even comes to Ghana and he's charged, he goes to court, he'll be granted bail. There are bail conditions.
Are you trying to tell me don't let us do this kind of thing? Are you trying to tell me that politics is not part of this? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me? Wait.
No,
are you trying to tell me that if that situation happened, politically it won't be discussed? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I think it will.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And who weighs sway? Who weighs sway? First gentleman of the land weighs sway. He might not come out and say it, but there will be influence in there. This is Ghana. We shouldn't hide from that fact. This is Ghana. It could be possible. If he goes to court and he hasn't been charged for anything, and I'm saying the process of the case not have been gone to court, through the investigations, the questioning and all that, and Kenufuriata falls gravely sick, you think when he was going, who did he go and tell?
Inform.
Yes.
He informed the then president and the chief of staff, and then subsequently.
Are they political people?
Of course.
Yes. So that is where my argument is coming from. That I don't think President Mahama is that wicked to say that Ken is not well, so he shouldn't go for medical. I don't think so. Anybody who sees, look, certain things haven't played in Ken's favor. Once upon a time, he was out there receiving treatment. He flew back to read the budget, didn't he? And when he flew back to read the budget,
no, he didn't. So the budget was read on his behalf by Chairman.
But he came in once. I'm not sure whether I'm not sure whether it's the budget or some. Yeah,
he came in for his vetting.
For his vetting,
yes.
We could see his facial look that he wasn't well, and a lot of people commented, "But Ken, why you're not well? Ken, why you're not well?" And I don't think that I will sit on your platform and see Ken here and being questioned, and he is really not well, why we should go on. Look, he's human like all of us. Yes, the charges are grave. Ghanaians want to know what happened.
So Mr. Atwa, there are no charges.
Well,
the suspicion.
The suspicion, the investigation,
yes.
The investigation that I've
matters
listed
that are being investigated
are grave.
Exactly.
Are grave. Thanks for what you call correcting me. Are grave. That Ghanaians want to know. If for nothing at all, put all the other investigations aside and take Cathedral alone. Take Cathedral alone. 58 million, isn't it? Was it 58 million?
Yeah.
58 million. No cathedral, no foundation. Doesn't that require investigation? If we won't even look at the others. So, for me, if Kenufrata can travel, if he can travel, he should he should let all this go away. Just come. Surprise all of us. Jump on the plane and come. And let's see where it goes from there. Sometimes
risking his ill health.
I'm saying, didn't you listen to me?
Yes,
did you listen to me?
Yes,
I said,
did.
if he can travel. If he cannot,
yes.
Then we need to find a way. Look, I've said, if Mohammed won't go to the mountain can go to Mohammed.
The OSP can go there.
I've said it. Yeah. I've said it. I even said it this morning on another.
So the OSP should go to another jurisdiction,
whatever the
and
case
conduct
is,
their investigation. Okay.
He can go and certify for himself. Mayo Clinic, his doctors, get the right information. And once you get the right information, if you feel he can still travel, let Ghanaians know that when we went, this was what we found out, this was what was told us, this was what was told the graveness of his illness, this was what was told that yes, he can travel for this duration, this is what we told we can do things to at least hold him on, so that we know the information. This, the way we are doing it, makes it look as if, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't like the situation where Ken Ofori-Atta will be dragged into this country with chains. I don't like the situation where Interpol is looking for him everywhere.
But don't you think that the special prosecutor, from the suggestion that you have made, don't you think that the special prosecutor has taken a hard line? He says that we want him physically here, and we are not going to accept anything other than that. Your suggestion seems to be saying that if the special prosecutor could go to the UK and have an interview with Mr. Mahama's brother, and it was okay. I didn't
mention Mr. Mahama's brother.
I know you didn't. But
I didn't mention. Listen to me clearly. I didn't even mention.
The one asking the question.
Wait. No, I need to clarify.
Okay.
I didn't even say he should go and have an interview with him. I said he should go and ascertain the truth.
Okay.
Of what he's brought out.
He'll be able to do that by interviewing.
We'll be able to do that by going to Mayo Clinic.
Yes.
By probably looking at whether the man can travel. It is the OSP's right to decide how he wants to question someone. It is right.
Yes, but I'm saying that he's taking a hard line. He seems to be saying that I don't want any other alternative. I'm not ready for any alternative. I'm ready for only what I want.
I'm saying that is his right. That is what he wants to do. I can't say don't do that or do this. But you've got to go and clarify that the man is fit to be able to travel. If you are not getting the right information from those handling the lawyers you're speaking to, then what does it take? It takes a visit. Huh? You can let Samuel go, take a visit, do all the necessary inquiries there, come back to Ghana and say, when I went, A, B, C, D, E is what we found. Yes, Kinofrata can't travel. We'll hold this case in absentia and go ahead and do it.
Okay, but the OSP himself said in his statement that very soon he is going to charge Kinofrata whether he is here or not.
Fair enough.
It was part of his own statement.
It is right.
Yes. So
This
I'm
is
just
right.
saying that if he can do that, so then why all the fanfare?
No.
Yes.
No. There are processes to all these things. From the way it started, he wanted to give Kinofrata, probably wanted to give Kinofrata the benefit of doubt to come and sit and discuss the matters that they were investigating. That opportunity hasn't been taken because Kinofrata is saying he is not well. Fair enough. But you gave a specific date when surgery will happen. That date came and passed, no surgery. How do you want us to think?
Okay, did he give a specific date?
The 25th of March.
No, wait. So what I saw,
thought it was 25th of March.
But, hold on, what I saw when I saw in the communications from the hospital and from his lawyers were that they are anticipating that based on the medical reviews that are going on, they're anticipating that he might go through a process at this particular time, and then likely to recover over this particular period. And so they are thinking that 2nd June was tentative, was a better time. That was what made the OSP accept it. And then getting close to the time, you realize that it is not. So what would you do?
It makes it even worse.
Well,
using that word anticipating makes it worse. It means it is not concrete. It's
medical
not concrete.
issues.
So wait. So you'd also go with the doctors. The doctors will be carrying out all the tests and everything. You anticipated a certain time. That time lapsed. At least, what would you do? You would inform, give them some process that is going through so that they also can work their timing according to your timing. But you just don't go quiet all this while, and then getting close to the time, you now resurrect your head.
Okay.
I don't think that helps anybody.
I'm trying to
I want a situation where we can get this thing over and done with, because the investigations that the OSP is handling, what I mentioned, are grave.
Okay. All right.
If I could just ask
Yes,
Mr.
quickly. And then,
Mr. Janto
Chief,
a question.
I acknowledge that you are here. We are coming to you very soon.
If you would allow me to just ask Mr. Janto a question. He seems to suggest that it is the right of the OSP to insist of the personal attendance of Mr. Foriata. What about Mr. Foriata himself? Is it not his right to also prioritize his health?
I'm not saying he shouldn't prioritize his health, but be clear. Be clear.
So the OSP
If it is
says
A,
that,
if it is A, it is A.
Yes,
if it is B, it is B.
The OSP says that there is nothing special about Mr. Foriata, and that irrespective of the fact that he says he's not well, he, the special prosecutor, investigated a former president then. And so if he
was the former president well or not well?
Well, there was no record that the former president was not well.
So don't let us use that as an example.
But he said it.
That is his example, and I'm saying.
But we are discussing the OSP and his stance on this issue. And so whatever he says is very important to this discussion. He's saying that Mr. Foriata is no special because he interviewed and investigated a former president. And so why is he, a former finance minister, wanting to be treated specially?
Because he's sick.
That is the point. He has to prioritize his health.
Listen.
What will happen if the man?
Listen.
Do you know the reason why? You know the reason why?
Listen.
You know the reason why Sedinam Tamaklo was able to get out of Ghana?
I don't. How did she
Hell,
get
she
out
got
of
On
Ghana?
health grounds.
Yeah.
The court gave her passport because she said she was going for medical checkup in the US.
Okay.
That is the only grounds on which she was able to leave the country.
But there has been a proviso in this one. Has there not been?
Okay.
There's been a proviso in this particular one. Yes, and I do agree. His health is important. The things we are dealing with are equally important.
So where's the balance?
The balance should be between the OSP and Kinofrata.
Okay.
That's where the balance should be.
So I need to transition to the next topic. And so Christopher is saying that it's only Mr. Jantwa and his NDC folks who understand the OSP in this case. Oh, Mr. Jantwa is not NDC, Christopher. Okay. So Kwabena Jeffy says that take the cathedral alone. No cathedral, no foundation. Is Mr. Jantwa or is Jantwa sure there is no foundation for the cathedral?
Is there foundation?
I am told extensive
when people swimming in that hole.
I am told extensive work has been done on the foundation. The cathedral was supposed to have 2 floors down.
Who told him?
He should
Who told him? Who told him?
CPP
No. Who told him? Who told him? No, he said he's been told. Who told him?
Well,
you should show evidence.
Okay, all right.
You just can't come on social media and say I've been told. Show evidence.
Okay, so the evidence probably is in the design of the cathedral. The design of the cathedral, as we know, is that it was designed to have 2 floors down and then the upper deck and all that. So the design details is what gives you.
Is it there actually?
No, that is why they dug
is
the ground.
There actually?
If you are going to build a building,
I said, is it
2
there?
floors down, you have to dig a hole.
Dig a hole.
Yes.
You dug the hole. Is there foundation in the hole? When it's rained, when it's rained, did they not swim in that hole?
Okay, all right.
Yes, let's go and see. Let's go and see.
Christopher Abe says that Wilberforce, my wife, who herself works in the Crown Court in the United Kingdom, Nottingham, asked, what will happen? Nottingham.
It's double T.
Nottingham. Okay, all right. It says that asked, what will happen if the special prosecutor grants Ken Ofori-Atta until the end of the year if the man is undergoing cancer treatment, as the SP unprofessionally said? This is a Crown Court judge asking, have you got to disagree? Oh no, have you got to disgrace the man before you even charge him? Is the special prosecutor doing this to disgrace the former president Nana Addo? And that's the question that Christopher is asking. But we are not going. So Wilberforce, all that OSP is seeking is okay. So Isaac says that Wilberforce, all that OSP is seeking to do is to have Ofori-Atta arrested in the usual cacophony fashion.
It's true.
To please the base of NDC. As for the argument being made by Mr. Jantwa, is the most confused one. This guy. The OSP is incompetent and he is wasting our taxes. If he is serious, he should go to court and prosecute him. And that is Isaac's message. And then Samuel Ofosu-Bah has come to attack somebody who said earlier on that he doesn't care what is happening. He says that, senior, please don't utter anything that you. And that was a message sent by Kwesi JC. And Samuel Ofosu-Bah is trying to bring a correction. Say, senior, please don't utter anything you have not privy to. For your notice, most of the causes of our defeat was those derogatory statements made in public by Ejapong. Let's leave Nana Addo and allow him to rest. For he did all possible to bring MPP to power, but most of our attitude and reactions brought us this gargantuan defeat, not the ex-president. Okay, so let's transition to the next topic. And the next topic, I'm going to start with our guest who I have kept here for a very long time without introducing, Kwesi Yamwa Abedu.
Yes,
Is it Abedu?
Abedu.
Abedu. Okay, all right. It's policy lead, climate finance and energy transition, Institute of Climate and Environmental Governance. Now the reason why
profiling his name.
Is really
Yes, Abedu.
Okay. It's Bedu. Abedu. Okay, Abedu. Mr. Jantwa, are you happy?
It has an eye, right?
Yes, it has an eye.
So Abedu is okay.
Yes.
No, that's the profiling.
The profiling of it.
Abedu. That's what I saw. That's why I said Abedu.
That's
Okay.
fine.
There's a case that I know about Mr. Abedu and Abedu.
Abedu and Abedu.
Yeah, Abedu and Abedu. Yeah. Okay. So, Chief, are you related to Mr. Abedu?
No.
Okay. All right. So, you're welcome. Now, the discussion is changing to D-levy. Some say D-levy is a replacement of E-levy. And that those who said that E-levy was, what was the word that they used? They said that E-levy was daylight robbery. Yes. Am I correct?
Yes.
Daylight robbery.
Draconian.
It was
daylight.
draconian and all that. Please, Yeah,
that was said by chairman of the NDC.
The chairman of that was daylight robbery. Okay, all right. So please educate us. What is this whole D levy about? I know the energy sector is troubled. I hear we are owing $3.1 billion in the energy sector alone. Mr. Jantua is an energy expert, so he knows the figures better than I do. What really is this levy about? And is it a fast replacement for e-levy?
All right. As to it being a fast replacement to the e-levy, I'll leave that for the politicians to decide.
But
I wouldn't want to sound controversial.
Please go ahead.
All right. One, the e-levy had its own purpose, and then I think it was supposed to augment government's budget. However, we are being told that the D-levy, as you just rightly put it, the energy sector levy, like you said, the D-levy was only just to augment.
What does the D stand for?
They say
Dumso. So say Dumso levy. Dumso levy.
But then we all know that the bill isn't Dumso, but then we have coined it as
so the bill is energy sector levy amendment bill. In fact, if we were not careful, it was also going to be e-levy because it's energy.
Yes.
So it will also be e-levy.
Okay.
So I think that they decided
The other one is electronic.
So energy and electronics.
It's specific to the law.
Okay, all right.
So
please.
For the purposes of this discussion, I may be using it the word
Interchangeably.
Dumso levy, energy levy, just for short. So
I think we'll go with Dumso levy.
okay,
It's
the
fine.
Dumso levy. So
Why? But there's an act. Mischief.
But we have electronic. Who uses electronic?
Let's
Mischief.
to curb the Dumso.
Thank you.
Yes.
So let's.
If I don't even say the D, Dumso levy.
So first of all, we should understand that the ESLA Act was put in place or implemented in 2015. At the time, because the energy sector or the SOEs who were into energy weren't making so much profit to be able to service the debts that they were accruing. And so it became very eminent that such an act is put in place to ensure that our energy sector debt was being cleared gradually and then ensure that we have sustainability of power. However, we get to realize that at a point in time, we weren't able to achieve that. And so there was a review or an amendment in 2017, subsequently 2019, 2021. And so there's almost like third of, if I'm right, almost like the third amendment that is being done to the actual act. Here we are in 2025, and then saying that we haven't been able to pay our debt. There have been some controversial argument that what has been the use of the revenues that have been generated from the year 2015 till now, and some have also attributed that to mismanagement. But then I would want people to be subject to be factual, and so you could also be looking at some of the reports that have been generated by the Ministry of Finance. When you go through some of these annual reports on the energy sector levy, especially, and I think quite recently the Minister of Finance made it known. I think it's on the Ministry of Finance website. When you go, you can download that as well. It mentions the revenues where it has been logged to, payments that have been done, and you get to realize that payments were actually made in this energy sector, majority of them, and then while some had also been used in the road sector. To me,
some of the money from the from ESLA,
ESLA
was used in the road sector.
Exactly,
okay.
Because there's a component of the road fund levy in the petroleum product that we purchase. But that is not the issue. If we are saying that this is supposed to pay for our energy sector debt, I think that we should be able to make that dedicated fund or that fund earmarked solely for energy sector bills, rather than channeling that into others. So that has created some level of debt till today. Till today, we still owe IPPs, independent power
producers.
Yeah, producers. Okay, and so we are unable to pay them. But the discusses for the past almost from 2015 to now is almost like a decade. What has been the use of these monies? Haven't we been able to pay a subsequent portion of this? This is the argument we also want to look at. And then, was it so essential that even if we are going to pass a levy, there wouldn't be any stakeholder engagement? How urgent is it? I understand that somewhere last 3 weeks, some of the IPPs had threatened not to supply us with power. And so yes, it is urgent, but how urgent could it be that the relevant stakeholders in this discourse were disregarded? That is also another dimension of the argument we ought to be looking at. So in essence, the Doomsday levy is supposed to ensure that, one, we have stable power supply and then clear our debt, energy sector debt. It is, however, interesting to also note that the 5.7 billion projection that is being made by the finance minister or by government, let me put it that way, we are told is not even enough to clear the debt, because we owe almost like 3.1 billion US dollars. And even in these projections that have been made, it is assumed that we are using a current rate of 10.5 cedis to a dollar, which we all know that yes, the cedi is gaining weight or is appreciating, but then what becomes of it when the cedi begins to depreciate? It means that you will have to do your modeling again, and so there will be some level of shortfalls. Whether we maintain the 10.5 cedi to a dollar, or the cedi even depreciates further, you will still need more monies to augment it. So why don't you become so transparent with Ghanaians so we understand that this is the issue? We've also heard the energy minister say that the amount we are even, or the revenue we are even going to generate from that isn't even enough to even get us the feedstock that we'll be using to power our thermal plants. We are told we need an estimate of 1.2 billion US dollars to be able to keep the power on. So the question goes back to somehow I know that some of the political actors wouldn't like it, but how was the previous government able to keep the power on? It is something that we also ought to be looking at. Is it that they were keeping the power on at the expense of compiling debts, or there were some other alternative funding? We also have to look at that. As it stands now, that is not too public, and so I cannot speak on that on authority. I can only say or speak to the fact that I know. So those of us in or at ISEG and then other CSOs, our question is, what prevented government from engaging the stakeholders? We understand that power is very crucial. Businesses will shut down if there is no power supply. Household would almost collapse if there is no power supply. So energy is a national security issue, and sometimes I get disheartened when we play politics with it. It is something that could generate unrest should it escalate, and so we should treat that as a matter of urgency. Having said this, quite recently we experienced a tariff review, and then just yesterday I saw the PRO for the Ministry of Energy bringing out some graphics and then making some information known, but then there seems to be some form of let's say potholes in them. I don't know if you have cited that communique, but then it sought to explain why the levy was important, whether we are paying double, like we have always argued, that we have increased tariff in electricity, and then you are also taxing us at the petroleum product, which some would say double taxation. So the disclaimer the PRO suggests is that the PULC review, if it had considered the cost factor of fuel and others, would have shot our review up to almost like 50%. And I think that's an exaggeration. What is the cost per kilowatt? We ought to understand that to be able to make an informed decision and good modeling. But that is not known. Effective 1st May 2025, all of us over here, unless probably you are not using electricity or you are not on the national grid and you are using
effective first what?
1st May 2025.
1st May.
Yeah, 1st May 2025.
It means that it's
just last month.
Okay.
The electricity review or the tariff was effective.
Yeah.
And so if you were consuming almost like 50 cedis, the tariff was shot up by almost 14.75%.
Yeah.
And so what this means is that if you were previously purchasing power of almost like 50 cedis, you are now going to purchase almost like 58.5 to enjoy the same form of energy that you required. And so it becomes so exaggerating to suggest that if that were the case, it would have shot up to 50%, which I think there is some form of lack of data communication, which would have put some of these questions to rest. That being said, we cannot also say that when the computations were being done, these factors were not considered by the PULC. because when the PULC tariff build-up is being considered, a lot goes into it: inflation, the current exchange rate, and then other factors. At the time PULC was reviewing the tariff, the dollar to cedi was pegged almost at 15.69 cedis. It means that they assumed or forecasted that dollar would have shot up, and that by that time our dollar wasn't performing. It was gradually our cedi wasn't performing against the dollar, and so it was anticipated that pegging it at 15.69 would enable the IPPs to recoup their investment. That is the power that they are supplying us. We know that they also purchased most of this stuff in dollars, and so at least it will be able to cushion them a bit. As it stands now, by God's grace, and then by the benevolence of the finance minister, like many would want to attribute the appreciation of the city to, definitely we cannot discount hard work. Yes, we cannot discount hard work.
I think it's God's grace.
God's grace and yes, God's grace, and then the finance minister, his grace. Let me put it that way. The cedi to dollar currently is almost like 10.5 maximum if you look at the Bank of Ghana rate. This implies that there is almost like a 5 cedi reduction in the actual computations that were done. Ideally, we should have even been experiencing a reduction in tariff. I'm not digressing from the energy levy. I'm just building up a point. And so we haven't just gotten to the next quarter where the review will take place. So it's understandable. We shouldn't be so hard on the PULC to come up with something. But then to also suggest that for each liter of fuel that will be consuming, we should pay 1 cedi is so high. And then it is quite unjust and unfair. Why is it unjust and unfair? This is an additional levy that is being added to the already taxed how do I even put it?
Is it tax heavy?
Tax heavy
Yes.
petroleum product that we have.
Products,
We have more than 12.
I think they said that
levies,
until the
taxes.
introduction of the 1 cedi, we were doing 2 cedis 35 pesos. Mr. Jantua, is that correct?
Almost.
On a liter of fuel,
Almost.
we're paying about 2
The
cedis
taxes,
35
levies,
pesos.
and margins were almost. And so if you look at that,
95 pesos.
Say what?
95 pesos.
We're paying
On-
90.
On the energy sector short.
No, I'm talking about the total.
the total.
The total.
That's a lot.
Because it has
Almost
a
like
whole lot of
22%.
So when you
something
add
like-
the D levy now, it's a total of about 3 point something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if you look at that, you get to realize that that's quite insensitive. We were all applauding the government when fuel prices started reducing, because we felt that at least it was going to make Ghanaians feel a bit comfortable. Previously, we were buying fuel almost like 14 cedis per litre. And then by sheer hard work, and then the grace of God, we are purchasing it almost 11 point something. Gold is almost 12.50, which I think is okay. But now you feel that Ghanaians are okay now, and so this is the right time to introduce a new tax, which I think the timing was equally bad, because as humans as we are, our psychology has been wired in such a way that if we are experiencing a decline or a reduction in commodity prices, we rather want it to come down further rather than go up. When the dollar is skyrocketing or the cedi is not appreciating or is depreciating, we get adjusted to it. And so we have also gotten accustomed to the reduction in fuel prices, and then you slap us with another extra 1 cedi. It is not as though we are buying a gallon, the 1 cedi is on a gallon. It is on every liter that we purchase. We are being informed by the finance minister that we are not going to fill it at the pump. That is quite erroneous. If we are not going to fill it at the pump, was there a need to communicate that to Ghanaians? If you think that we wouldn't fill it at the pump, why do I say this? Whether the OMCs are going to bear that tax, heavy tax, or not, you should understand that the OMCs are in for business. They are in to maximize profit. And so whether we like it or yes, the cost will be definitely passed down to the consumers down there. As it stands now, we do not have total control of crude prices. It is an international product which is regulated by international market, OPEC. And so if by the let's say circumstances, geopolitics and other issues, we are buying internationally a crude oil, a barrel of crude oil is selling at 65.64 as at last 2 days. At this time, same time last year, it was selling almost like $80 per barrel. And so you should understand that it wouldn't be constant. And so if you are doing your modeling, you should factor a whole lot into that. I'm not saying they haven't factored that, but what I'm saying is that you have no control over crude prices. And then once you have no control over crude prices, the assurance that Ghanaians wouldn't feel that at the pump is quite erroneous. At least we have been given some level of insurance against the next window of us being of us experiencing some level of increment in the petroleum products in the next window. But after the next window, what happens? This is a crucial question that we ought to be asking, especially when we do not have absolute control over international prices of petroleum products.
So Mr. Jantwa, I'll come to Mr. Jantwa before I come to Amma, and then I'll come to Oredu. But Mr. Jantwa, this is a policy analyst point of view. I know you are also a policy person in the energy sector, and so I wanted to pick your thoughts. He paints the picture that, first of all, this 1 Ghana cedi slap on petroleum products, quote unquote, is a little bit too high, looking at other parameters. And then he also paints the picture that the sector is so unpredictable that if the government is banking its hopes in its analysis currently, it should factor in the possibility of changes that cannot be predicted between now and even, let's say, another 1 year. So what are your thoughts on it? The levy, the 1 cedi, too high or not?
So how do we make sure we don't get into doing so? What should be done? If we say this 1 cedi is excessive, government should take it off. It's not from the people. How do we handle the situation?
Okay, so I think you should speak up a bit because I'm not hearing you.
How do we handle?
You also have to speak to the fact that
how do we?
The government said 1 cedi e-levy was too high.
I'm making my argument.
Yes, I know.
E-levy is different from this one. Okay. Completely different. E-levy was brought in for a specific reason, wasn't it? Some taxes were cancelled because of e-levy. And let me ask the question. The duration that e-levy was in, how much money did it make?
I think that we are told that it's about 1.9 billion Ghana cedis. That's what it raised.
1.9 billion.
Yes.
Show me the proof.
Well, so I will get my producers to get me that detail. But I think on top of my head, I know.
And e-levy was specific on others and not specific on others. If I didn't use my Momo, will I pay e-levy?
If you didn't use your Momo
and I used cash,
yes,
I use cash, will I be in the same line of you using your Momo? I won't. But for me, this can be seen as a necessary evil. That's the way I see it. Because you know something, one major thing that I understand this levy is for is to procure feedstock for generation. At the present moment, we've had stranded gas. The last 8 years, we never did exploration to production in our oil fields offshore. And so we have stranded gas. Gas is supposed to be the main ingredient to fire electricity. We haven't been able to produce enough gas. And so we've been pushed to procure fuel. Do we have the money to procure fuel? I don't think we do. So let me ask, how are we supposed to do that? Now, for me, there are certain situations that can affect this particular provision of 1 cedi. My good friend has mentioned the bit on crude oil prices. I have the bit on international market dynamics, crude prices, cedi performance, and ex-pump prices projections. Because if BDCs, the cost of crude goes, refined petroleum products go up, and BDCs bring in, definitely it would affect it. If the depreciation of the cedi is not appreciation, the moment the depreciation of the cedi comes in, this one cedi can drop to 80 pesos, can drop to 50 pesos, can drop to 40 pesos. What is the cushioning in the model that the finance minister is using to cushion it? Because that one cedi should be constant, moving through the value. It should be constant. Again, is there a duration for this one cedi? Is it open-ended? Is it going to be like COVID levy? There's no sunset clause in the law that indicates the time this thing is going to end. And I think it is something that we should look at. And remember, it's basically more to procure fuel. If we are able to get enough gas in to power our electricity generation, will that reduce it? Or the excess money that would be made would be used to cushion ECG. And in cushioning ECG brings in the cash waterfall mechanism. For me, that is crucial and key. For me, that should be the only model we use to pay the IPPs. The other side of the coin is that, are we going to be able, and the president has indicated that this particular fund money is not going to go into the consolidated fund, are we going to be able to target it to just the energy sector? Are we? And if we are, there needs to be transparency and accountability along the way when it's being done. The other thing I don't want to happen, if this thing works out and works out well, I don't want government to come back and tell us that we are going to charge 1 cedi for Galamsey to clear the water bodies. I don't hear that. This is specific to a situation that has national security implications. Because today, electricity is key. You are standing here, you put your headphones on your ear, there's electricity and everything, you are talking through mic. Can they call fwenya? Will it happen? It won't happen. That's why I'm saying, for me, it's a necessary evil. We need to be able, if for nothing at all, Wilberforce, 80 billion cedis of debt is huge. And I won't pinpoint one political party. This particular debt runs through the Fourth Republic, runs through every government that has ruled this country in this Fourth Republic. And that is why, for me, I wouldn't want to politicize this particular issue. I don't think it should be politicized because it is a national issue. National issue. I would have wished the MPP being in power for the last, leaving power for the last 5 months, would contribute on how best we can clear the debt.
We'll never do it. Lie over debt.
Mr. Jassa, do you know? But do you know that there is the question that I want to ask as a follow-up there is that there is the politicization of taxation.
Yes.
You know, in the introduction of e-levy, the then government targeted e-levy, and the target was 4.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2022. That was the target. Why? Because we were struggling, and we needed that money to prevent us from going essentially to IMF. The opposition then indicated that e-levy was never a good thing, and that it was a daylight robbery. So we have politicized taxation. So this opposition party then now comes to government and comes to tell us that just like then government was seeing that we were heading towards a problem and we needed taxes to deal with it, this government has come and says that he sees a problem. The only way out is taxes. But he says that this one is necessary. But what the other government was seeing is unnecessary. What it tells me is that we have politicized taxation. And if we politicize it, there is no way any political party in opposition will support a party in power to tax the people, because when you were there, you didn't support the government to tax the people, to deal with the problems the people themselves are facing. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Fair enough. That is your opinion. Fair enough.
It's not an opinion. It's an analysis. Okay. It's not an opinion.
Okay, it's your analysis.
Yes, it's an analysis.
Okay.
I'm asking a response from you.
It is your analysis.
Yes.
And I'm saying fair enough. Let Doomso come. Let us not solve the problem. We all there inside, no be so? MPP, NDC, CPP, we are all inside. No be so? We all experience
Like we did
Doomso.
in NDC one.
Won't we?
We didn't die.
But
We survived.
But is that helpful? Does that help the country? If my dear sister is saying that lie, we won't handle it, fair enough. That is fine. But you see, the thing is that when MPP also come into power, it follows, the trajectory continues to follow. Does it help the country? This is where somebody should, and if it so happens that the MPP are not mature enough, you have come into opposition after being in power, and you realize the immaturity of the NDC, why don't you act maturely? Why? Why should we be chasing our tails all the time?
Why should we be the
It
majority?
doesn't help the country. It's country first, not political party first. And I have said that we should always bring country first. This thing you talk about, e-levy, some of us sat on this platform and said it was theft. Why? I have been paid my money, salary. You've taxed me with that salary. I decide to put my money in my Momo. You're trying to tell me that that money you've already taxed, you're going to tax it again. You know what you're trying to tell me? And from so far as I saw it, the approach of e-levy was even wrong. That it was going to save and sort all Ghana's problems. We had it. It's going to be the panacea for all Ghana's problems. That we had tolls that we were using to, at least the small money we were getting from there, using to maintain roads, that one we cancelled. Was that right? If for nothing at all, keep even the tolls. It's money coming in, isn't it? But you cancel it completely. Did it not stop people from even using Momo?
No, it didn't.
Huh?
It didn't.
In terms of transferring money.
Anything at all. The record shows that from the time e-levy was introduced to the time it was abolished, mobile money transactions grew. It never decreased.
What is it today? Isn't it more? Isn't it more than what?
So
Wait. No, you've said, isn't it more today than e-levy time?
Okay.
Huh? Isn't it more?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the statistics, but you seem to be suggesting that one government's approach to introducing a tax. Because, Mr. Chantua, no matter how you look at it, the introduction of e-levy was a tax that was being introduced by a sitting government. The D-levy is a tax that is being introduced by a sitting government. But if we try to say that the approach to introducing one tax by one government was bad, and so it was wrong, then the other person will also say that the approach of introducing another tax by another government is also wrong.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. The analyst here has said that.
I said fair enough.
Okay. All right.
I said fair enough. There's a debt to pay. There, you come in. Don't rush.
Don't worry.
You have time. There's still time.
Let me ask you a question. Abdul Basit Mahama has sent a message, and I want you to respond to it before I come to Amma, and then I'll come to
it. Why not?
He says that charging 1 cedi per liter of fuel, a fixed charge, would affect low-income earners more than charging a percentage of the price per liter, a variable charge. A fixed 1 Ghana cedi per liter charge is more burdensome to low-income earners because it does not adjust to the price level of fuel and represents a higher proportion of their income and fuel expenditure. It is regressive.
Do you realize we have caused a huge challenge for our own selves? Ex-pump. Do you realize that? Don't you think in this Fourth Republic, if we were able to have brought in efficient public transport, some of these challenges we won't face? Don't you realize if we have able, within these 4 years, or within this Fourth Republic, get Toll back to where it is and where it's supposed to be, we are an oil-producing country. We can refine some of our own oil, and even if that oil, we decide the refined oil, the refined petrol, diesel, and things, we refine on Toll. Even if we say we are not going to use it in Ghana, but we are going to export, doesn't it bring foreign exchange in? This goes to show you how politicians have used a refinery to do politics, and now it's coming back to bite us. Because I believe if we have efficient public transport system, some of these challenges we are facing, we would not face.
Okay, all right. So I'm coming to you, Amma, and then I'll come to Redu. But policy analysis is also still with us. One of us, I think the NDC is also repeating the same mistakes the MPP did with e-levy, targeting the D-levy to solve doom. So we'll be watching how good the power situation will be affected. Praying this levy a year down the line. We are watching. Okay, so that's Edwin's message. Edwin says he's watching.
There should be a time scale on this levy. There should be.
Mr. Jantwa, so this is a political issue. What did you, Mr. Jantwa, say about e-levy? The D-levy is not even for the energy issue per day, but, or is it per se you wanted to say? Okay, so, but to support the budget. The budget has been thrown off gear because of the current appreciation against the dollar. Mr. Jantwa, why do you always support the NDC every time, even if they lied their way to government? The debt is due to the plenty IPP contacts or contracts, I believe you want to say, that your NDC folks sign.
Me, my bread. Let me ask a question. Wait. Let me ask a question. MPP, you in power. Why did you help others to take you out of power? Why?
Help others? How did they help? Who?
Didn't they help others to take them out of power? Did they not?
They helped the NDC.
Didn't they help others to take them out of power?
How did they do?
Were they not voted out for some of the things that they did? They could have stayed in power, couldn't they? If they did things right. So what kind of question is he asking me?
The question is, if a government tries to introduce a tax, and the purpose of the tax is to rescue the country from difficulties, and then we all come up and say that the tax is bad. You understand? We say the tax is bad, including you. Say the tax is bad. And the government is not able to introduce the tax and meet the targets. And then the government is voted out. Another government comes. He says he's introducing the tax.
You think the approach that was used for e-levy was right? That's what you're saying.
What was the approach? What was the approach for e-levy?
They were going into people's accounts. People's accounts. People who have wait. People who have already paid taxes on the monies that are in their accounts.
Yes.
They were going to tax it again.
When we put the 1 cedi tax on fuel, as before you introduce the tax, we were paying tax on fuel.
Yes.
When I buy fuel, until then I was paying tax, even though I have already paid my income tax. I go to the fuel pump and I pay tax.
You decide.
You have 1 cedi to it. I'm going to still pay.
But you decide to have a car, don't you? Don't you?
But yes, but you decide to have a mobile phone. You decide to use your mobile phone.
But I don't expect somebody to come into my account and take money from my account. Hey. I don't expect it. I don't expect it.
It's a very serious one.
Why is a serious one?
But
I don't expect it.
When I go to...
I don't expect it to come into my personal account to take money.
When I go to the fuel pump today to go and buy fuel, and I'm paying by Momo. I'm paying by Momo.
And I'm paying by cash. Who gets taxed? Who gets taxed?
Anyway, me I don't understand.
Who gets taxed?
The reason why I
said who gets taxed? You're paying Momo. I'm paying cash. Who gets taxed?
Well, I mean, everybody is paying.
Wait. Apart from the build-up in the petrol pricing using e-levy, who gets taxed?
So now there's no e-levy.
Wait. I know. Yes. I want you to answer that question.
Yes, I'll answer.
I'm paying that tax that is already in the build-up.
Yes.
And then I decide to use Momo to pay. I get taxed, and I decide to use cash. Do I get taxed for using my cash?
No,
apart from the build-up.
The cash you are paying. The cash, if we are both buying fuel of 500 cedis,
that is in the build-up.
It's in the build-up. So
you are being taxed.
Whether you are paying by Momo or not.
But Momo, you are being paid. You are being taxed twice, aren't you?
How, I'm saying
if
that right
transfer,
now, there's no e-levy.
No, I'm talking about the e-levy situation. I said it was wrong. I did say it was wrong. Am I not paying twice?
Anyway, so you see, that's why the issue is, because it's about taxation. And it's as if we are saying that one government's approach to tax the people was bad, another government's approach to tax the people is good. But
It's
at the
a
end of the day,
necessary evil.
all of it, yeah, but that is what was said about e-levy.
necessary
I can read,
evil.
Mr. Joshua, I can read a list of, he says, I can read a list of headlines for you. E-levy, a necessary evil, says economist. This was January 25th, 2022. An economist, Courage Boti, and economist Courage Boti and Courage Kingsley Mante. Both of them said e-levy was a necessary evil.
The addition there was that it will solve all our problems.
Yes, but today we are saying that
did it solve our
D-levy.
problems?
No, it didn't. But we are saying today that D-levy is a necessary evil.
We are saying D-levy is meant to buy fuel stock.
And it's a
D-levy.
necessary evil.
It's a necessary, but otherwise Dumzo will come. You prefer
And
Dumzo.
it was a necessary evil.
This is a necessary evil, so far as I'm
But
concerned.
e-levy was being introduced to raise.
I don't see how that
It
was a
not
necessary evil. No, I
Okay,
don't
all
see
right,
it.
Voila.
I don't see it.
Let me come to you.
The
Amma.
approach was wrong.
Okay,
I don't see it.
Amma, let me come to you now. I know you brought your tomatoes and your onions and all that. We are in your hands. I'll come to you and then I'll come to Oredu. Then policy analyst will wrap up for us today.
So today we are in the 6th month since the NDC took over, and I'm sad that Nee is not here because he started this tomatoes and onions business in the studio, if you remember. As we speak now, this one liter of palm oil. And for those of you who think that I'm lying, it's not palm oil, let me take it out of its wrapper.
So you went to the market and bought
I
this
went to
before
the market
coming?
yesterday.
Ah, okay.
This is Zomi palm oil.
No, yeah, don't cover it. Just leave it.
Yes.
We want to see it.
Yes, it's here. And this one cost 80 cedis. When the NDC took over in January, this was 35 cedis. It is 80 cedis. These 3 onions, medium-sized onions, as we speak, yesterday we got it for the 3. We got it for 25 cedis. This. These 3 tomatoes. These 3, we got it for, one is 7 cedis, so 7 times 3, 21 cedis.
Wow.
This pepper, 10 cedis. Carrots, I've used 1, so 3 carrots. Where, let me see, where do we put the carrots? 20 cedis. These are my son's boxes, brand new. And my son is 10 years old, my second son. So he's growing very fast. So almost every 6 months, I have to get him new ones. These ones, 6 months ago, I bought one at 20 cedis. Yesterday, I bought this for 50 cedis. So 200 cedis. I have 2 sons. The older one too is there. So you can imagine. Why am I bringing all this here? In just 6 months, food inflation and clothing is important. My children have to wear clothing. They haven't just doubled, some have quadrupled. Plantain, yesterday you plantain meant me farmer. You should have seen the small fingers of plantain, 5 of them, 100 cedis. Now cassava, instead of do we call it tuber, the cassava? Is it the root? It's the root.
Tuber.
The tuber is the root of cassava.
Oh, roots, okay.
Now, instead of selling, when you go to the market, they sell it by the root. Now they divide it. Yeah, they see kind of boom. It's like when you are home and you are trying to put the cassava together for the fufu. That is how they've done it in the market. And so one long tuber is almost going for 25 cedis, 30 cedis. When we used to get one long tuber for 5 cedis. Yam, medium-sized yam, is going to 75 cedis. The small ones, 50 cedis. And what makes my matter even serious is that my children love yam. You know, I trained them in the Bunu region, so that's for yam. And now at 13 and 10 years, Wilberforce, I have to boil 2 tubers of yam in the house because the 2 boys will eat 1 full tuber. The 2 boys, when we cook, it is them. They are the only males, so they are male species in the house. Just the 2 of them. The rest of us are women. So we boil 2 tubers. Then they also don't like the contomere that you put in on the fire. No, they want the one that you do in the asanka. So we have to do it in the asanka and put it in front of them. Carry the whole pot, so their pot, and put it there, and then they'll sit on the floor. So by the time I'm done, the contomere, the way they tie it, one is 25 cedis. And for a household of 10 people, we need about 4 to be able to get stew. And if you have boys like I do who eat, they'll eat half of it. But for my food matter, it's something else for me. Maybe Hoto.
You need support from Mr. Janto.
I swear. And when they are boys, you all know.
I understand.
And it's not as if that they finish eating that one, they are okay. In 2 hours, some fruits have to pass somewhere. My bread is disappearing. My Milo is disappearing. Look, the big one can wake up at 3 a.m. and you'll be knocking on my bedroom door. Mommy, I'm hungry. So now what I've done is I put cereals where he can find them. Don't come and wake me up. When you wake up, go straight to the cereal box. Go and do. So cornflakes, when I buy cornflakes, I buy it in boxes.
It's Gary.
He loves Gary, but he can't eat Gary all the time. So I have Gary, I have sugar, I have cornflakes.
Somebody says
I have
you're reporting your children on the show.
Yes, I'm reporting them because a lot of mothers are going through what
prices.
It's about the prices. Wilberforce, I spent 2,000 cedis a week on food stuff, so I haven't gone to provisions. When I talk about provisions, the tin tomatoes, the oils, the rice, the milk, I haven't gone there. I'm talking about food stuff. This one we don't import. So you cannot tell me that me and my children we have foreign tastes.
We import
tomatoes. Yeah. This is not the one. This is the Akuma down. This is not Burkina. This is the Akuma down one. This one. Do you import cassava? Do you import yam? And 2,000 cedis every single week for just food stuff. I haven't spoken about meat. I haven't spoken about vegetables. I haven't gone that way. This is what we are facing. 6 months. Immediately this government took over. The energy minister, John Jinapo, started his shenanigans. And I'll call it shenanigans because I think they decided that right from day one, that they were either going to milk us in this whole energy matter. And we know him already. He was deputy minister in John Mahama 1. We know what happened though. Those IPP deals that he went to sign. It is there. It is part of our problems now. Right from day one, if you remember, the day of inauguration, John Jinapo told all of us that we had 2 days of fuel. Me, personally, I took him on. That how can you tell us that we had 2 days when you had been at the transition committee for almost a month? Are you trying to tell us that you guys didn't ask the then outgoing minister? That was Herbert Krabber. What was up with it? Mm-hmm. And you sat down, went for those meetings, wasted our money, and then on the day of what do we call it, inauguration, you come and tell us that we have 2 days. The 2 days came to pass. Apparently, we got fuel from somewhere. That is where his shenanigans started from. We're here. The same minister came to tell us that ECG has turned into a problem in this country. In fact, it went to the extent that he came to tell us 1,350 containers vanished from the port. That also became another topic for 2 weeks in this country. Accused the former government. In fact, he called Afenyoma Akin a thief. He called Napo a thief. He called Herbert Krapper. The sort of things they said about them. And I remember the former managing director, how's his name? Dubik, telling us that it is not possible for containers to vanish. We were here barely 3 weeks ago when the same minister came to tell us that they have not just found the 130, they have found extra. In fact, they found 2,300 and something containers, and that they were scattered in various container holdings at the port. Shenanigans number 2. Then from there, they came to tell us that the ECG had debt. They were not managing things well. In fact, if you remember, some the ECG people, some were complaining that people were sacked. People had been sacked. People had been moved because they hadn't managed the situation well. Therefore, our bills would have to go up. Then, in the last 6 months, they increased our electricity bill to what? 14.7%.
Yeah.
So apart from all this and people, I'm a single mother. So apart from all this I'm dealing with, I'm also dealing with a 14.5 increase in electricity. 14.75. So my electricity bill have gone up. I used to buy, I think, 1,000 cedis a month. Now I'll be buying what? 1,400, Let's say 1,500. Water too is there. 6 months. Then to add salt to our injury that we are thinking about, you come and tell me that you are adding 1 cedi per liter to petrol. People will say that who is forcing me to use a car? So you put me as a run, I'll park my car, I'll use structure. I'll use, no problem, my dear. I can use structure. Do you know what this means? Yesterday, Kofi Tonto and I, we did some calculations. Kofi spoke about it on Adam, and I'll repeat it here. The common churches that we see going up and down here is the urban buses. And countrywide, those are the urban buses that go into the communities in areas. Every urban bus, or the average one, you know how many liters of fuel that they use in a day? 70 liters. So it means that in the morning when the trotro driver is filling his tank, he will pay to John Mahama 70 Ghana cedis. 70 cedis. So. And then because they move around, go, stop, you know that takes more fuel. So by the end of the day, some trotro drivers, by evening, the 70 is finished. You guys, let's stay at the one tank. 70 liters. So every day you are paying 70 liters, 70 cedis. Most short drivers, as I know, they work for 6 days. Sundays, Saturdays, Fridays, they go and worship, or the cars rest. 70 times 6, how much are we getting? 6 days. Multiply that by 4 weeks. So just for the urban driver, every month we'll be giving John Mahama's government. Mahama is the whole government. 1,782 Ghana cedis. So that is how much the trotro driver, urban trotro driver, will be giving John Mahama every month. Kia Morning for Uber, they will be giving 1,080 cedis. Tomorrow we are doing the VIP one. Then we'll do the cargo trucks that will go into the village, go to Techiman and go and bring me these tomatoes and things. We'll do that one too. So if you tell me that it is just 1 cedi, and then when they introduced this, they didn't respect the Ghanaians. At least e-levy, with all these problems, the same Kenoforia that today OSP is looking for, went region by region, held town hall meetings. If you've forgotten, I'm reminding you about e-levy. We got MPs like Okujetu Ablakwa who said they held bipartisan town hall meetings on e-levy and took a vote. But because they have such disrespect for Ghanaians, they snuck it in at night and passed it at 1 a.m. Nobody got a discussion. We didn't know about it. Or people, you heard about it. E-levy spoke to all the CEOs. If I remember, it was public. He called everybody. People were insulting them that they were paying the CEOs. Even after having conversations with them, the people said we don't agree. You can't force them to agree. But at least they gave them the opportunity to talk about it. This one, who did you give opportunity to talk about? E-levy is not by force. If you won't send them money, nobody is taking your money. Whether you like it or not, you pick Trotro. The 1,780, that Trotro driver is not going to absorb it. He's going to put it on the face. Meanwhile, you people force these Trotro drivers to reduce their fares by 15%. That also tend to fight. In fact, some drivers have still not done it. So what are they going to do with this 1,700? And this is just for the Ovano. The other one hasn't come. The bigger ones.
One that goes to Benin and all.
Yes.
The Benz bus.
The Benz buses haven't come.
The cross country.
The cross countries haven't come. So if you sit somewhere and you tell us that this one will not affect Ghanaians, it's just 1 cedi. And then I saw my sisters on the other side. Auntie Nanaya, Shamima Muslim.
Which Nanaya are you talking
Nanaya
about?
Ajantwa, my own auntie.
Okay.
Shamima Muslim. Amma Pratt. They came on TV. If I have to give 1 cedi to support government, I will do. When you are getting fuel coupons free, you have the audacity and the nerve to come and tell Ghanaians who are going to suffer this 1,700 cedis. that if you have to give just 1 cedi, they should tell us how much fuel do they get?
Coupons.
How much fuel coupons do they get as presidential spokespersons? And what is the other one? Anthony Naya is what? A presidential staffer.
Yes.
That 1 cedi is nothing. Yes, 1 cedi is nothing. But I'm telling them, their nephews are eating, so they should bring me some of the coupons.
Okay.
They are eating left, right, front, center. So please, this one, unlike e-levy, where you can say that it is not by force to send money. In fact, those are the lowest levels who are going through this and going through it hard. They are not sending money. They are not sending money to anybody.
Yeah.
As for this one, whether you like it or not, you sit in a trotro, you sit in an Uber.
Or even if they were sending money by Momo, they probably were doing less than 100
cedis.
Because the charge was applicable if you were doing more than 100 cedis.
It's universal.
Yes.
So, Shamima, Amma, and Anthony Naya, your nephews, I'll come for the money for yam and carrots and Jenny. Since now you guys are fine.
Okay.
And you don't mind paying me, they are mind. I'm in opposition now. Even when I was in power, I didn't even have a job. So as for now, my situation is worse. So now that you guys now have full coupons, therefore you are okay. I'll be passing through.
Already, we are in your hands.
Yeah.
For the next 5 minutes, and then I'll come to policy analysis. Yes, you can.
But she's really exhausted there. Let me add a Bible quotation to sort of fortify the position she has taken. I mean, if you would indulge me, I would read about 1 Kings 12:11.
He's a reverend now. He doesn't.
Oh, you're a reverend?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I am.
That's interesting.
You are reverend.
In fact,
Yes.
this is what is happening now. It says that my father laid on you a heavy yoke. I'll make it even heavier. I'm just adding to what my sister said. My father laid on you a heavy yoke. That is e-levy. Ghanaians were complaining. This is Muhammad. I will make it even heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions. This is what we experience.
Continue reading it. Why have you stopped?
No, that's 1 Kings 12:11.
That should be what a king, whose son?
Rehoboam. Yes.
The son of Hezekiah.
Yes. When he came, he says,
Son of the king, the son.
yes, he says, my father laid on you a heavy yoke. I will even make it heavier. My father scourged you with whips. I will scourge you with scorpions. That's the situation we are in. You see, my worry is when I listen to the finance minister, Tufosan, he took the position that because the cedi is doing well, Ghanaians will not feel it. And this is highly speculative. If you hinge the success of a tax policy on the cedi, which as of now, we've not been told the reason for the appreciation. All the NDC will do is when you say it is because they are not spending, say no. When you say it is because of the previous government, they will say no. They are not telling us reasons, but they are refuting all the reasons that have been given.
Hard work.
When they say it's what hard work, some even say it's what grace of God. And even in currency economics, they are unable to do any projections because by now they should have told us by the end of the year, we expect the cedi to be this strong or to remain at this level. They are unable to do it. And if you will hinge a policy as universal as D-levy on the strength of a cedi, then you are being very speculative. And that is dangerous. That is my fear. Because what happens if the cedi starts going down? Would they increase it to 4 cedis? Would they increase it to 4 cedis? Okay, what happens if the cedi really appreciates that we expect? Would they reduce it to 5 as well? So the policy in itself is problematic. But you know this, I'll tell Ghanaians this. When they lie to you, there is just 1 cedi, don't believe it. Amma has done the aggregation. And you know you are paying a whooping close to 1,700. If you're almost 1,800 if you're a church driver. So that's a propaganda of it's just 1 cedi. It's a lie. The aggregate of it in a year is huge. It's almost a capital for a business. It is almost a capital for a business. You remember the Atufosin interview at his Brighton? He demonized taxation as if he's never going to resort to taxation. He said he has ways of raising revenue. Where are the ways? No, where are the ways? If you demonize taxation and now it is your savior, you should come back to Ghanaians and apologize to the previous government and apologize to the president Mr. Akufo-Addo, because you demonized taxation.
As for apology to Akufo-Addo and the previous government, I doubt it will happen. Maybe the apologize to Ghanaians may happen, but
of course they are all Ghanaians. So he's also a Ghanaian. I mean, if he apologizes, then he goes to all of us, because you see, we should be consistent even in our critique. What I'm telling people of Ghana is that, you see, you don't have to trust the NDC. You do not at all, because what they have done is that within 6 months, we've seen increment in tariffs of electricity. Even with the increment, there is doom so. What was the purpose of the increment? We increased it, there is doom so. And now they are coming back to you that, oh, you know what? We increased it 14.5, there's still doom so. So give us 1 cedi. What's the guarantee that there won't be doom so again? It's about management. If all a government would do is to go to the people to tax them for a solution, then what is the business of government?
Okay, unfortunately, we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to stop you there, unfortunately. But I'll take a minute submission from you.
So,
yes.
A basic principle or a tenet of taxation is the principle of equity and fairness. And then I'm happy some of my panelists have also made such a suggestion that the levy is quite unfair and unjust. If it were in percentage, at least we know that it will be based on the income that people earn. And so it is a disadvantage to low income earners. 2, we also haven't heard of any clear timelines. And then we've also been pushing for that at what point will we stop paying? Once you are able to make revenue projections, you should know that at this point in time, you are accruing a certain amount. And so by year 3 or year 4, we'll be able to pay that. But then my estimation tells me that they wouldn't be able to pay that, considering the revenue that is being generated within a year. Secondly, it is very counterintuitive, also regressive, to suggest that we should pay a levy, when in fact we know that the basic cause or why we are in this ditch is because ECG has been inefficient. There are so many loopholes, commercial losses, and then technical losses. They are incurring losses.
And so political interference.
Political interference. Okay, political interference. Okay, so it cuts across.
Yes.
Once you say political interference, it's not similar to a particular party. So it's like you have a basket with so many holes, yet you keep on pouring water in it. It will never get full.
That's very deep.
Until you tackle the basic problem of the inefficiency, a time will come, we would even increase the levy to 2 cedis because there are still inefficiencies. So rather than tackling the levy, because I'm saying this because Wofajantua said it. So because of this issue, shouldn't we solve the problem? We have to solve the problem. But then we should also be circumspect that until we tackle the ECG inefficiencies, every money or every revenue that we generate will go down into the drain. Because at the end of the day, you are paying the debt, then the next month a new debt comes. You pay. There will always be debt. It will be recurring.
Okay.
Yes, it will be recurring. So my last point. So the 5.7 billion, like I said, isn't enough to even get us the feedstock that we would use to power our plants. And then we also pray that at least they should be very clear with their accountability framework. And so we get to know that, at this point in time, this is the amount that we have accrued and this is what we have been using it for. So that at least the Ghanaian would be at peace.
Okay. So e-levy had a target of 4.5 billion Ghana cedis. It couldn't meet the target because of all the attacks on e-levy. D-levy has a target of 5.7 billion. We hope that it will be able to beat the target.
We have done half of the year, almost half of the year. So this year is almost out.
Okay. All right. So we are told that ESLA had raised over $9 billion so far. How was it disbursed? How has it solved the problems? No. Will increasing it solve the problems? It's a question. We don't know.
It's been mortgaged.
It's like trying to cure insanity with drunkenness. You can't cure insanity with drunkenness.
Mortgaged,
okay. Christopher says that.
Say that it's been mortgaged.
Okay. I don't know about that. Okay. So Christopher Abdi says that, Ms. Jantua, principles. Please say that to the NDC friends. Abdul Basit Mahama says that Ghana's e-levy was legal or was legal, duly passed by Parliament. It was not unusual because similar levies exist in Uganda, 0.5% on mobile money withdrawals, Zimbabwe, 2% on electronic transfers, and Nigeria, 50 naira bank transfer levy. It was not double taxation because it taxed the act of transferring money, not the income itself. Okay, all right. So that is Abdul Basit Mohammed's message. Manipulators hate people who ask questions because truth destroys the lies they peddle. Dishonesty has eroded confidence in politicians because the D-levy that was passed by the NDC in the midnight has portrayed the NDC as not wicked only, but also as wizards and witches. Hey, Charlie. This is Litafo's message, oh, Charlie. And then Gifty's message says that if you lie that your keys are missing, you will end up sleeping outside. Lawyer Jantua cannot answer any of the questions posed to him satisfactorily. See how he is struggling. That is Gifty Ose message. Please. Okay. Please. So what my sister is saying is true. The way my two boys can eat, Charlie, I wonder how people like Mr. Jantua managed with his family in the UK. But seriously, all politics aside, the whole world is going through a crisis, and that is Christopher's message. Christopher lives in the United Kingdom. That's why he's saying the things that he's saying. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for coming. Let me introduce my guest who joined me today. So Ellen Deko is a member of the New Patriotic Party National Communications Team. Deko, yes, and then she is also the way I've struggled with that name before I got it pronounced properly, okay. You have no idea. And she's a member of Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia's inner circle, I believe. Okay, thank you, Ellen Amadeko. Kwame Jantua is a lawyer and a member of the CPP. Mr. Jantua, thank you as always. Thank you. And Bernard Oredu is also a member of the New Patriotic Party National Communications. Bernard, thank you. I think I enjoyed your company today. Kwesi Yamwa Beidu.
Tell them to come.
Abedu.
Yeah. Tell them to come early. I was alone.
Yes, he was alone for a very long time. Yes, you're right. And
is this the first time of him being here?
Yes.
And he's telling us to come in.
So, Mr. Kwesi Abedu is policy head, Climate Finance and Energy Transition Institute of Climate and Environmental Governance. Thank you, Kwesi. I think you did very great. And then Nana Eje Bafo joined us via telephone earlier on. Nick Papo Samoa Ado is out of jurisdiction, and so he couldn't join us. Hopefully next week he should join us.
Everybody did great. Me, I didn't do great.
Oh, Mr. Jata, you did perfect. you are part of the furniture here at Asaase.
Familiarity breeds contempt.
So the show produced by Ivan Olohiming and Daniel Gidiglo. My name is Wilberforce Asare. Thank you very much. Who? He's around. He came around this morning.
Okay.
All right. So I'm Wilberforce, and I thank you very much indeed for the privilege of your company.